I see dead people.
Hot shit.
Here's Johnny.
Stop.
We have such sights to show you.
Bring the motherfucking ruckus. Fuck you too.
Yeah, this is a business, and this is your desk, and this is the conversation.
SINergy, question mark?
SINergy. Democracy.
Just yell SINergy really loudly
That's all
over
that's
and
needed.
over again, and then it will be so.
Make it so.
Me teaching, like, manifestation in a fucking, like, get along together HR workshop, but it's just witchcraft.
Yeah, I could see that.
Someone's like,
I'd love that for you.
Someone's like, what do I do if Stan takes my lunch again and it makes me really mad? And I'm like, well, first you
Curse
get his
them.
picture and then you
Right.
put it in a jar and then you piss in it.
Oh, yeah. I like where this is going.
And then you put a bunch of nails in there and you shake it up really, really bad and then you throw it in a fucking river. And, yeah, he won't do that anymore. Also, he might break his legs.
I like this. I like where you're going. Like I said, SINergy.
Name that the title of the
SINergy.
SINergy.
SINergy is why this episode's even happening.
It's true.
Because I looked through time itself and I said, it's been too damn long since I saw my girl. Even though I saw her in October, it wasn't real because I was busy and I was stressed out and I was drunk and high at the same time.
It's
and
true.
Nothing. It's a whiplash feeling to be that dazed in a group of like 40 people.
Yeah.
So as much as I appreciated seeing her and her partner for the first time in years,
Yes,
I told
God.
myself it has been far too long, and it's about damn time I changed something about that, which means I am, of course, here live with Cannibal Siren.
And I just think I heard a cat snag something they're not supposed to have. That was a suspicious crinkling noise.
It sounded like the scratch pad to me.
Okay.
Is it the scratch pad?
No, they're gone, which is suspicious.
Go check it out.
I'm just gonna look. Oh, no, it's a cardboard stick. Never mind.
We're gonna
fine.
have
It's cardboard.
I
it's
assume
okay.
we're gonna have visitors over the course of the next hour and a half. So
Without a
let them
doubt.
each guest appear as however they choose. The only one. See, I was sitting right here, typing and like looking at stuff, and I turned this way to see if you were coming, and I realized Gadsby was literally sitting right next to me, looking at exactly what I was doing, and I was like.
We joke that he's a human pretending to be a
Pretending
cat.
to be a cat.
Because, like, he figured out that being a cat is, oh, speak of the fucking devil and he will appear.
Hello.
We just
Great.
think, we just feel like he,
He's like a familiar.
yeah, like
it's
he
fucking
got
weird.
He got cursed to like be a cat.
Binks.
And exactly, he's like Binks, but if Binks was like, this is actually pretty fucking sick.
I like being a cat. Why
I
would I
don't-
want to be a ghost?
I don't have to do a whole lot. I'm actually gonna stay here.
No, dying sounds lame.
That's-
Being an immortal cat actually sounds pretty nice.
And he was like, and they sometimes give me tuna. Like, this is actually pretty sick. So I think I'm just gonna do my best to convince them that I'm really a cat, but he's really bad at it. Like,
And then he just goes back into his little shelf.
Yeah.
Look at, you know what?
he likes.
You know what? They do got it good.
You can't really see here, but there's under that bottom thing. It's all like stuffed animals that I have been gifted,
okay.
and he will sit
Amongst
like,
them.
within them, and
And
he's the
blend in.
only one that does that. Yeah, and it's
He'll
just,
do the ET thing.
yes, exactly.
I'm just a stuffed animal.
He is ET, actually. Now that I'm thinking about
Gonna
looking
help
at
me
him.
phone home? Does he eat Reese's Pieces?
He would if he could.
I wouldn't put it past the fucker.
Yeah, and then everything will explode.
Listen, we're gonna have some guests as the episode goes on. I hope to God Padme comes and visits us
She always
at one
does.
point during the show, because I need everyone to hear live how this cat sounds, because I don't believe the last time we recorded was at your place on like fucking like a block away from Temple.
Yeah.
Like
Jesus, was that the
I
last
didn't
time we
get
did
to
it in
see your
person?
I didn't get to see your place in Manayunk.
No, you didn't. Why do I have it in my head that you came there? I must have made it up. I just
It was
made it up.
it was your senior year.
Sorry.
I had just graduated, and it was your senior year.
Yeah, God, that you were in that.
And I was coming by to
tiny
say, you're graduating in like a month. It's really nice to see you.
But
The funny thing is like, it was while you were still in school. Like,
Yes.
you were about to finish school. And I just came by to see you to congratulate you because I was already in the area. Because my stepbrother was graduating at the same time. So
okay.
I had to already come and see him. So I just figured I'd stop by and see you because it was a... back then it was more of a convenience thing where it's like I had a shitty car. I didn't have a ton of money. I was living paycheck to paycheck. I was just like, I'm in the area. I'm going to make the most of it. I'm going to see Cannibal Siren while I'm here.
Yes.
So...
God, that was so long
I'm an
ago.
adult now. Clued you fuckers into that there artifact. And I have some money now that I can spend it going to brunch with Cannibal Siren now instead of having to spend it on bills.
Yes.
So we had a wonderful little brunch.
We did. It was
That place
amazing.
was awesome.
It was great.
And the only thing I asked of Cannibal Siren was that if we have time to record an episode, she will let it happen with her grace.
Yes. Yes.
Because we're in the middle of a physical landslide, storm of the century situation.
Yes.
Where Cannibal Siren is choosing to pick up her entire life and move it somewhere else.
Yes, I am.
Which we all know what type of flurry you can find yourself in that situation.
Both of us just like side-eyeing the piles of cardboard boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a very chaotic 2024 because I basically started it by deciding to move out of state, and things.
Moving is just always a bitch.
It's just
that's just the truth is, unless you're living out of a car, which I have been before, then it's not such a big deal to put everything in your car and go somewhere else.
It's true.
It is worse when you have tons of furniture and tons of shit. And you've been accumulating it in the same spot for the last 2 to 3 years.
Hi, pretty
oh my
girl.
goodness.
Ooh.
Here she is.
Will you say hi? No, because now that I'm asking, you won't do it. Yeah.
It'll happen.
Good girl.
Just continue to happen naturally.
Good girl. Yeah. I told you she'd be back. She can't resist it. It's weird because like I think that she thinks she can speak English.
Yeah.
And so it's especially bad when I'm like on the phone. Yeah, because she'll just like, and I thought at first that it was because she was being shady and just like wanted attention, but then I realized like I really think because she doesn't see a person and she just hears me talking, I think she thinks I'm talking to her.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
Yeah.
And she's just trying to be involved because you're so chatty. You're such a chatty girl. Yeah. God, I can't wait to get my tattoo of you.
Like I said, it's one of the...
Yeah.
Yep. It's what I said, actually.
That's exactly
I said
what
that
you
exact thing.
Mm-hmm. And then you said it like it was your idea.
And then you said it like you stole it from me.
Yeah.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Glad to have you. Glad to have you here.
We'll have her read some of the story.
I don't usually like to go looking for stories about cats because usually it means that they're dying at some point. So I don't want to. I don't want that energy.
You don't want to do that. No, because you're.
Which is funny because when you brought up the idea of having a story about a cat earlier, it made me think of a Sofa King episode where we read a story about a cat that turned out to be like a robot.
That's actually sick.
I was like,
robot?
yo, you a robot?
Are you speaking for him too?
I was looking at Gatsby and Padme
could
was the
be.
one who wanted to talk.
She talks for them both. Yeah. I'm so glad you're part of this episode. Yeah.
Yes.
You're famous now.
Yes. So much to be said, so much to be done.
Yeah, she's
Only
a
so
Cancer.
little time.
I know all my cat's zodiac signs because I'm that
Give 'em to
person.
me.
She's a Cancer, but she's on the Gemini cusp and it shows.
Yeah, it does.
He's a Taurus. Gatsby's a
That's
Taurus.
interesting.
Yes, and Finn's birthday is actually tomorrow and he's a Pisces.
Okay.
Yes, and the only I know Finn and Padme's birthdays for a fact because I was there when they were born, and Gatsby we only have an estimate. But
I think the only one who really doesn't fit is Gatsby over here.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have taken Gatsby for a Taurus.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just because I don't know any Tauruses.
I know.
That I don't know how to compare them to.
I have a few Tauruses in my life, but it's mostly, I more have, like, my family has heavy Taurus placements, like, in their charts beyond their sun sign, so, like, it's a very earthy family, but not a whole lot of Taurus suns, right, Pud? I have no idea what their whole birth charts would be, but I could probably get it down to some of it.
For me, it's just I don't think I know any, so I can't associate the attitude to anything. Like, what's the stereotype?
Taurus is it's an earth sign, the bull, stubborn, very, very stubborn, very relatively industrious, but also ruled by Venus, so likes nice things, like fancy things, good food. That's another stereotype, is like really like they're all about food, making good food, because the life is about like the pursuit of pleasure.
Sounds like Franz McBoohoo.
Yeah.
But he's a Sagittarius.
He is.
So, does that strike you as...
That completely. My rising
it
sign is
sense.
Sagittarius, and like a lot of the times when you share placements with people in the big three, you tend to
gravitate.
And you see a lot of yourself in each other, you know?
What are you again?
I'm a Libra.
You're a Libra.
I'm a Libra, yeah, and you're a Leo.
I am a Leo.
I have a Leo moon.
You always know that about me.
Yes.
You say I exert the Leo energy.
You do, without a doubt. And it's like, and like I said,
it's fine. I appreciate it.
It's interesting that I get along so well with you and Franz, because I'm a Libra and I have a Leo moon, which is your sun sign, and I have a Sag rising, which is his sun sign. It's just funny how that works.
No,
I would be curious to get the rest of you guys' birth charts.
I feel like I've read the comparisons between Leo and Sagittarius before, and it did not surprise me at all that we're friends.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
Fire signs tend to they either get along really,
I
really
look
well.
for appreciation, and he supplies it.
Yes.
And we are each other's drug, because
Yes.
he wants to be there for people. Yes. And I want to perform for them.
Yes. Oh my God.
Within my capabilities.
My sister's a Leo as well, and she's a Leo with a Taurus.
I don't mean to have that main character energy. I just can't help that I was born with it.
Yeah, see, and I get that, because I'm a Libra, so I'm like, I want everyone to like me so much.
It means so much to me.
much.
I hate how much it means to me.
Yeah, and then I'm like, but I need them to like me, and I like them so much, because they like me so much, and now we're both having so much fun, and we like each other so much.
I love the passive aggressiveness.
Yes, it's an air sign, so you know, all talk, no action.
Always fun to talk your witchy bullshit with you, just because you're knowledgeable in these fields.
In fields of bullshit.
In fields of bullshit. I didn't mean to say it like
no,
that.
No, I've
because
literally...
we all know we graduated from the same place
bullshit.
of college. We both graduated with the same major in bullshit.
We have a bachelor's degree in bullshit, actually.
That is what we graduated for. If I remember explicitly what it said on the front of my certificate.
It definitely said bullshit in there somewhere. That's what BS stands for. Although we technically both have BAs.
BFAs, yeah. It's been a minute, and I always love seeing you. And
I love seeing you.
I don't have like women on my show anymore. Like the stars have to align for Midnight Bride to come on. I think DSL Daisy moved, and it's just been hard to get her back on. Yeah. I think she's something like 40 minutes away. It's just a pain in the ass. Yeah, it's a which was basically the distance between you and me when I really thought about it. Yeah. But like Alley Cat, I want to get her back on more episodes. I always appreciated recording with her, and then we went on vacation. We came back and we talked about that together, and people really fucking responded to that. Apparently,
that's sweet. That makes me happy.
We did a review of our experience at Horror Nights this year. So we talked about all the mazes we walked through, and we talked about the plot lines of some of the houses, and we ranked them comparatively to other years that we've gone down and other houses we've done.
That sounds really fun.
And people apparently it was one of those episodes where, like, within 2 weeks it had, like, 2,000 hits.
That's great.
And I was like, where did this come from? And maybe it was just the fact that we weren't reading anything, and we were just talking, and we were hitting a subject, a topic that someone wanted to hear about. And I just remember releasing it in sometime October, November, so people's perception to it was still
good, yeah.
timed well. Yeah, still relevant at the time. So sometimes the stars align and you get a really good episode like that. But I also know that I have a story for her, and it's just a matter of time until I tell her to hang out with me. Because we tend to, like, go for dinner and, like, see movies and shit. So, like,
we just did that for Valentine's
so, like,
Day.
coming over and like doing things together in households is not how we operate in a relationship. We like to go places. We like to do things. We like to spend our time with each other out in the world, which is fun because one of our favorite places to go is Dave and Buster's.
Yeah.
She fucking gets. She's never experienced that before. So, like, for her, it's the same type of attitude she gets when I take her to that fucking pinball arcade that is, like, maybe 10 minutes away from here. And it's just, she's able to disconnect from reality for whatever time, as long as we're in there, and just, like, play games and have fun and laugh and eat ice cream and, like, all the things she appreciates.
All the things who doesn't appreciate? That's good shit. That's just, like, pure serotonin.
I would like to think the litmus test for whether or not you're fun to be around would be, I take you to Dave and Buster's, and are you a curmudgeonly, like, stubborn, cranky fuck, or are you someone that wants to play literally every game?
Yeah, that's actually, I think one of the first times we ever had, because, like, my old roommate, when he first got with his wife, I was, like, super suspicious because we had lived together on and off for a few years, and his ex was, like, awful, like, insane and evil, and he got with his wife, who right now, very, very quickly. And I know
people like that.
I was like immediately, because I was just so, like, the ex was just so, I cannot emphasize enough how fucking awful they were.
And you thought this person's track record was like, you jumped into this real fucking quick, mate. Like, you real fucking easy.
And yeah, so I was like, and then he, like, brought her over, and I was like, okay, like, she literally has done fucking nothing to you. You need to give her a chance. And now you saw us on FaceTime earlier, so. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that was her. So they're great. They're still married. Everything went really well. I was super wrong, which was amazing. It was the best wrong I've ever been. And the first time
I love to be wrong.
I love to be wrong about stuff like that. Yes, and I'm not wrong often, so it was a really nice change.
I just had a situation like that the other day. I was playing Outlast Trials online because it just launched cross-platform. They redid, like, the entire game from when we first started in beta. And everyone was worried that console players were going to come there and muddy the community because that's what they do. Right. I know that because I am a console player.
I was about to say, you're 100%
And I have sent terrible, mean messages to people for playing, like, absolute dog shit before. I can't help it. It's a part of my psyche where I'm just like, this is a team game, you weren't helping, you're dog shit, uninstall, kill yourself. And I can't help
kill yourself. Can we get that matching tattoo? Uninstall, kill yourself.
I will get that tattoo in a heartbeat.
I would get it right now. That's so fucking funny.
I would get that tattoo in a heartbeat. And so would Franz. Franz would love that.
Yeah.
He's never going to get a tattoo. I don't think it's his thing. He's been thinking about it, maybe.
Well, if you have tattoos, you're a bad person. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, that's right. We did learn that.
Yes. Exactly.
That's what the book you sign when you go to get a tattoo says that first.
It does. It says you're going to hell. You're going to hell. You're a bad person.
Yeah.
And that's it. You're dirty now.
And then I signed.
Oh, I signed the fuck out of it.
Times.
Oh yeah, I smashed. I actually karate chopped
that like button.
I karate chopped the table in half with the coffee.
And they said this person's ready.
Yeah. They were like, "Fuck yeah, give that bitch 7 tattoos right now for free."
So I was pleasantly surprised that my first interaction with a complete stranger online was one of the most, like, normal and nice experiences I've ever had playing a game with someone I did not know online.
Wow.
He was asking very nice questions. He was complimenting me on my ability, because I'm level 50, he's level 9.
Oh.
And he's asking, like, how to play, you know?
He's actually trying to learn.
He's actually trying to learn, and I was open to just telling him fucking anything. We have usually been playing Outlast Trials, but we've recently switched to Helldivers 2 because it's just that fun. We've played Lethal Company, we've played Phasmophobia.
I'm dying to play Lethal Company.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna be terrible on it. I will drag the team down. I am not an asset.
That's
Whatever
me.
the opposite of an asset to the company
me.
is, I'm the opposite.
I see anything and I run and I scream, so it's fun to watch me play.
I'm the personality hire, and then I showed up and they regretted it immediately because the personality wasn't that good.
I mean, I appreciate that. For me, it's like...
Which Bob's gonna have to carry us both.
I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm not gonna learn.
No.
And I'd like to think that if I just run in the place and try to pick up as much shit as I can and get out of there as fast as I can, that I'm playing the game. And therein lies the rub. When I go in, most of the time I just get killed by something I didn't see, and everyone laughs at me dying and screaming and running away from things. Any video that GlitchBlob has on his channel that he's tagged me in of us playing Lethal Company together is 100% a video of me screaming or hiding from something.
That makes sense. That sounds like what I would do.
Which is funny because it's the opposite with Outlast Trials.
Oh, yeah.
You'd think I'd be running and screaming and crying. Like, no, like, we are genuinely good at that game. For anyone who's out there who wants fun people to play with, that don't take it too seriously, that are just there to have a good time and win, you know, tune in to watch me and GlitchBlob play or join us yourselves. I don't give a fuck.
I'd try to join, but I think, again, I would be an active detriment.
You...
I would be an active
You
detriment.
strike me as someone it would be fun to play Helldivers with.
Yes, Helldivers I'm down. That doesn't scare me.
I don't think you would be, to be literal about it, I don't think you have the stomach
How dare you?
for Outlast Trials.
You're completely correct, but how could you say that?
You've told me so many
Oh,
times.
yeah, no, I don't.
About how
don't know
incapacitated you've fucking been.
Yes.
Watching your partner try to play through a game like even I don't like. And I'm like, I can understand your incapacitation, but at the same time, I'm just like, you have to, like, at some point, like, give it a go, give it a try, maybe. Yeah. No, your complete aversion to the topic.
I'll give it a shot. But only if it means I can drag you down.
No, Outlast Trials is really fun. It did launch for all consoles. Anyone who's looking to play it, give it a go. I think it's really fun. I stopped being afraid of it maybe, like, a week into playing it because I just understood what was at.
Oh, honey. Okay.
What does that mean?
He's just a weird dude. I don't have a reason.
Do you think it's because he sees himself?
Sometimes reflections get him. He also tends to, like, chase lights. He's really into...
So it's not just the reflections of him, it's his whole perception of...
Yeah, I think it could be the
general.
light. Oh, buddy, are you gaining self-awareness? Don't do that. It's not good.
I think he's fine. The tail shows playfulness.
Hey, don't experience ego death on his podcast.
When it's, I've heard cat behavior when they flick their tail like that. They're being playful.
He also does lots of stuff for attention, so it might be working.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I can understand that.
Yeah.
So I'm here with Cannibal Siren live. Recording. Anything you wanted to talk about? Anything you wanted to get into? Any fun stories recently?
Let me see. Movies so back.
Oh, okay.
Movies are so back. They were so over.
Tell me what you're thinking.
So I just went to go see Lisa Frankenstein.
Alley Cat saw that.
That movie.
And she liked it.
Captain, when I tell you, that movie, whoever wrote that movie made it for me. Diablo Cody.
Diablo Cody.
Yeah, she fucking came through again like she is the bitch herself, and I love her so much for this. Plus, Zelda Williams directed it.
Zelda Williams directed it.
And she did a fucking banging job. Plus, it's everything you want in a movie. It's a fun, campy 80s rom-com with the Frankenstein's monster.
Played by the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Yes, and actually I was a Cody girl when I was a kid, so this was like really a full circle moment for me, honestly. watching him, vomit
I never
bile
watched
onto the
Riverdale,
floor.
but if I did, it would be for him. He's probably the only person on that cast list that I'm interested in.
I watched Riverdale. I didn't watch all of it because I think once I finished season 1, I was like, what the fuck is going on? And like, I think I've talked about this with romance novels on a past episode, but like, I am somebody who's okay with buying into insanity with like media.
Sure.
I'm down. It can be a little ridiculous. It can be a little bit inexplicable. That's okay with me. I can live with it. Lisa Frankenstein's great for that. It's like, oh, lightning struck his tombstone and revived him, and now she can cook him in a tanning bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Why not?
Sure.
Sure. Who gives a fuck? Let's do it. Who cares? Fine. This is fun. But like, for some reason, Riverdale, it's like, I think it's because the stuff that works is the stuff that doesn't take it very seriously.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And there's nothing serious about Lisa Frankenstein.
Maybe it's about the tone. Maybe it's about the complete, the actual portrayal of things. Because I think the problem with Riverdale was just that it looked so dark.
Yes, that's exactly what I mean.
Everything was so dark.
And
yet the things that they were saying were sometimes
goofy,
light and ridiculous.
Yeah, it was.
And I just remember being very confused about the overall translation.
Yeah, because it just didn't. It seemed like it couldn't settle on what it wanted to be. It seems like it couldn't settle if it wanted to be dark and gritty. Because also
edgy is the word I used.
I also think that we had like an over influx of like edgy, gritty, like remakes of like cute, wholesome things during that time period from like, the late 2000s.
I'm forever thankful that the Powerpuff Girls one got canceled.
Oh, thank God.
The live action Powerpuff Girls just looked so fucking terrible.
It would have been awful. Can you imagine?
Because the plot was they're older and they're played by 20-somethings, and like some of the scenes are about like them like super fucking their partners and shit, and like doing drugs and stuff, and I was like,
no, I hate that.
That sounds off. Like one of the first, like someone leaked that like the show opens on like Bubbles fucking some dude,
bro,
and like Buttercup like barges in and is like, what the fuck are you doing? We gotta get out of here. Like, we gotta go do something. Like, what the fuck? And she's back.
That's really sad, man. We do not approve.
Yeah, no, look up the pictures, look up the leaked stuff. It's very sad.
I'm just like,
as much as I liked the cast, I'm very sad.
My baby.
That was someone's idea, and they actually seriously thought about doing that.
I'm just so sick of live action stuff. Sometimes things are cartoons because they're supposed to be cartoons.
Oh, 100%.
And they don't translate well.
Yeah, that's a conversation I have a lot. Is there any other spooky media that you've seen lately that you've been like, oh fuck?
Let me think. I wouldn't call Poor Things spooky. That was great. Loved that.
Yeah. I saw that guy's first movie and I thought it was okay.
This is awful.
I think the only reason I would see the new one is because of Emma Stone. Mm-hmm. Glad she won,
Mm-hmm. Me too. And I was like, it was really good. I'm trying to think if there's anything else scary. We just started our playthrough of Resident Evil Village. Yeah. We talked about that.
We were talking about that.
I didn't read. I haven't read anything good. I've been on a reading slump lately. Thank you, sweet girl.
She's like, no one's touching me.
I've been on a bit of a reading slump lately, but my sister had me read Stone Cold Fox, which is a fun book about an I don't know if she's evil, but like a fucking sociopath, like gold digger.
Oh, nice.
Trying to like marry into an old money family, and I was fucking rooting for her the whole time.
Nice.
I was like, hell yeah.
Cool.
Get him.
Get him.
Get him. Baby trap him. Do it.
No, that's cool.
That's great.
The only stuff I've been reading, as I've mentioned on other episodes, that I'm slowly getting through everything that Mark Miller's ever written. Yes. And I can't believe that someone can be so hot and cold throughout their entire career, because some stuff this man writes is amazing and cool and interesting, and some stuff this dude writes is fucking weird and left field and nutty, and I can't get behind it. But that being said, I am pretty far. I'm on the female Kick-Ass run right now. Which I didn't even realize was a thing. After Kick-Ass 3, they waited several years and then relaunched it as a female who knew about Kick-Ass at one point starts putting on the suit and dressing up and pretending to be kick-ass and, like, using it for her dirty work and stuff. Which is a pretty cool plot.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. How's work going with
I
your...
was looking at the live-action Powerpuff Girls, and I was like, thank God.
Was it discussed?
Yeah, it was horrible.
That I was picking up on?
Yeah. It was just like, thank God there's been no news about it since 2021. Let's keep it that way.
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, what were you saying?
I was saying, how's work been in the slutty fantasy novel?
So glad you asked. I have a real ebook now. It's like
if you want to plug it, you can plug it.
I'll plug it a little. I'm writing monster romance novels now. I made and as usual,
it's in right now.
I went really hard. I went too hard. I built a whole world and like a system of fated mates and all that good stuff. So it's mushy and it's this one's still spicy but very sweet. And it's a Minotaur romance novel because they're hot. And that's actually a fact. And you can look it up anywhere that it's a fact. And so it's going to be the start of a series. So I have my first one. It's called Taken by the Minotaur General.
Nice.
I'm going to have it on Kindle Unlimited. And I'm working on getting paperbacks available for purchase and maybe hardcover. But I'm actually drawing the cover art for it.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, so it's coming out, the cover art's honestly coming out pretty well, but it's taken a fucking long time, and, you know, it's a little bit less fancy than I would like it to be because my skill level is kind of teetering, you know, on the edge of being, like, commercial, but it's not, like, quite there. So I'm just gonna do my best, and hopefully it comes out decent enough, but I'm really excited about it, honestly.
That's awesome.
And the second book it's almost done. I think I have a quarter left to go.
In gestation.
Yes, that one's gonna be a werewolf book. Because,
hell yeah.
Yeah, because if I can write a werewolf chase scene that ends in fucking, I'm gonna do that.
What's the other side of the coin say?
What do you mean?
What's the option? Do I write that or do I write...
how about a silent library scene with an orc absolutely railing a librarian?
There we go.
Because that's book 3. That's
an orc absolutely railing a librarian.
Absolutely railing her, and she's gonna be thick as fuck because that's what God intended.
Right.
I'm God. So if you want to read the Bible, my pen name is Rowan Chant. And I'm really excited about it. I'm hoping to be published by the time summer comes around. So
that's really fucking awesome.
I'm really stoked about it. I feel good.
I'm glad we can drop it here so that you can get some attention, because people I've shown this show are the people who genuinely read those types of books.
And honestly, I've been working on my TikTok and like social media presence and all that good stuff, which is somehow like easier and harder than I thought it would be. Because like my sister's an influencer and like full time, like that's her actual job.
Yeah.
And I won't plug it here because it's not really the right audience because it's fashion stuff, and also like I don't think it would be the right audience. But like she, you know, gave me a crash course, and it's just so fucking wild and weird how social media works, because like the videos that I work on, nothing. Fuck all. If I spend more than like 30 minutes on a video, it's never gonna do well. But if I throw a shitty ass video together in 5 seconds and put it up there, immediately thousands of views. Instantly.
I love that.
It's honestly, I like love it and hate it.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like the minute that I'm like, no, I figured it out. I got it this time. I can do it.
The more you think you figured it out, the less you figured it out.
Exactly. How is the algorithm so terrible and so good at the same time? It's the fucking robots. They're taking over.
It's tough. From pushing this podcast for so many years, it's tough. I know it's tough. It's just you either get your niche or you don't. Mm-hmm. And I'm always fighting to try and find my niche out there. People to pick up on us, because it's the type of thing where I see other shows trying to do the same exact shit now.
Yeah.
Like popular people doing the same exact shit we've been doing for years. They're doing it now. And they're just hitting all the good stuff. They're not working through the shit.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no, like, you don't have a respect for it yet. You're just judging it. And how am I gonna value your palate whenever I've ever seen you do is shit on something before.
Right.
Or just, I don't know.
I feel that way about people who are like readers, honestly.
Yeah.
Like the whole book, like the book talk and like Bookstagram thing. It's really wild because like so much of it is built on like rage bait and like making people like, you know, or, you know, people like one thing gets popular, which is great. But then once something gets popular, you have thousands of people who end up like copying it and doing the same thing, but cheaper because they're just trying to get popular.
Yeah.
And it just like doesn't really work. And then plus there's like the just really, it's I don't know if I want to say negativity, but it's like hypercritical. It's like when something gets popular.
Yeah, no, hypercritical is the right word.
It's like such a wild dissonance because it's like you can only go one of two ways. You can only either stan it and it's never done anything wrong, and the person who made it's never done anything wrong, and actually they've replaced the shrine in their house to Jesus of this person, or they just pick it to pieces and they're like, it doesn't make any sense, it doesn't work, and this doesn't work, and this literary device is off, and like this part is too trite and contrived, and it's
yet
just
these
like,
are people who have never written anything in their lives,
No.
who don't know anything of what it takes.
Mm-hmm. And also like I really feel like not everything is for everybody, and that's okay. Like you don't have
of
to.
course not.
You don't actually. It's actually okay to see something you don't like and not immediately critique
I love
it.
when people comment on our show and say I don't like it. I love, because then that means like, okay, you gave it a shot. It's not for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah, at least you tried it.
Continue on with your life doing whatever the fuck else you're doing. That's fine. Go be with God.
Yeah.
I'm saying like,
Except
if
the Lord.
you, I think the right people like this show.
Yeah.
The ones who like it get it, and that's what I want. So if you don't get it and you're just fucking listening to it, go somewhere else.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Like, this is this is already the most passive thing you could do, is listen to two other people talk with zero relationship to them. That's what podcasts are.
Yeah.
It's listening to people you either want to be around, could see yourself being around, or simply just like the subject material. You don't even have to like the people. You could just like the stories they tell, which is fine. I've done that too. I'm just saying.
It's just it's taking the time to be like, I'm gonna tell them I don't like it. They need to know. It's like, what am I gonna do with that? And what are you don't.
I appreciate your consideration and your criticism, albeit how very little constructiveness you tried to wrap this in.
And also, like, at the end of the day, I'm not going to change what I'm doing.
No!
I'm not going to do it differently.
No.
And you know I'm not going to do it differently. So
It would be unlike you to lower yourself to that level.
No, it's
of secondhand scrutiny.
Yeah.
From people who don't deserve it.
Right.
I would love, my respect and my dignity comes from the fact that we have had people who've written stories that we've read on the show that have contacted us, literally you and me, and have said, I like when you read my stories and I like when you tear them apart afterwards. Because it helps them grow as authors.
And also, like...
But even if you didn't, and you just like how we read your stories, which is the other side of the coin, which we've been contacted about before, not just that guy, but it's just like... You understand.
Right. And it's also not coming from a place of just, like, trying to, like, cause harm. It's like, no, I actually really like this.
No.
Like, there are so many things about this I love.
There's a reason we've been doing this for so long, and it's because we like to do it.
Right.
It's not for any other... You can not enjoy this as much as you want, and it's never going to stop me from continuing to do what I enjoy doing. Because I realized a very long time ago, this is not my livelihood. This is not my business. This is not something I do to get attention. This is something I do because I like to do it. I like to read. I like to hang out with my friends. I like to smoke weed. Okay? I like to...
That's because
I like spooky shit. I always have liked spooky shit. So watch me play spooky video games. Watch me talk to my friends about spooky movies. And listen to us read spooky stories.
Read some
and
creepy stories.
Continue to do that for as long as we do it for, and I will continue to do it for as long as I feel like doing it. Which is, you know, I'm looking at next year already, so like you got another year on me.
It's coming.
The day this stops is the day I truly don't want to commit any more work to it, and right now it's such a secondhand thing.
Right.
I literally pressed a few buttons and put it down, and it's doing its job, and I will focus on it later.
Yeah.
It's not a big fucking deal. A lot of the stuff I like to do with my friends anyway does come from sitting down and talking to them in some capacity.
Same.
If we were playing a video game, I'd still be talking this much.
Yeah.
If we were having a meal, I'd still be talking this much.
Mm-hmm.
When I watch things, I tend to just kind of fall asleep now, because I get to this zone of peacefulness where I'm like, everything is right, and I'm able to pass away very slowly and silently until I'm not silent at all, which is because I have sleep apnea. So, like, I'm gonna continue doing this because I like to read stories and I like to see other people's reactions to when we read stories, and I feel like the stories we find are fun and interesting, and if they're not, we make them interesting.
I agree.
The experience of reading it together makes it more interesting to me.
And you know, we have read over the years very few stories that I did not like enjoy at all.
I've read many stories on this show that I did not enjoy at all.
I guess maybe I'm just lucky, but I mean, even just thinking back,
you've been extraordinarily lucky.
Like the last 3 like different episode like series we did together, I really liked.
I would say every series we've done together has shined in one way, shape, or form.
I genuinely can't think of one we've done that I was like, no, except for maybe some of like, you know, the goofy like ones that we did very, very early on. Like
that was back when I didn't know what the show was going to be, but even then the stuff we read wasn't bad. Like I still love that story about the guy who's trying to hunt down that pop song from the 80s.
Yep.
And he's just like, has anyone heard this before? That was just a random NoSleep.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved reading that.
That one was so good.
Just like,
and
we just got lucky.
The Wikipedia page.
Well, that's Mark's stuff.
Yeah,
that's the stuff I'm talking about.
Good.
That's One Page Wonder. His stuff you can look up on his website just by googling One Page Wonder.
Literally so good.
He's just a really talented author, and I'm so thankful that he let us interview him that one day.
Yes, it was amazing.
He was such a nice guy and such a talented guy.
Really,
the fact that we read some of his stuff randomly first will forever be like one of the greatest coincidences that could have ever happened on this show, is that he sees us reading it. Because I tag all my shit. I try to at least put the title and let the source be known of where I pulled the stories from, because then that means that you have the resources to then go and find them.
Yeah.
I might not shout out the author as much as I should. I wish I could get better at doing that. But I've recently been putting it in the tags of my descriptions for the episodes.
I think that's great.
So at least there's something there. So today I wanted to keep it simple. I wanted to take us back to those simpler times of complete randomness where we don't know what we're getting into. This is going to be like the most classic episode I've done with you in a very long time.
How exciting.
We're just going to read short stories. We each picked 2. The twist there is that we're going to let the person read the one that they wanted to pick, and then the other person is going to read the other one the other person picked. So that it's a little bit of misdirection, because we picked ones based off of their titles. So, are you good to start? Do you want to go first?
I'm great to start. Sure, I'll go first.
Okay, because I think yours is the first one pulled up, which you could go ahead and read the title of that for me, because you were very specifically picked this one because it sounded fun, I think you said.
Yes.
So, I will take the bolded.
All right.
If you want to take the story itself. But, go ahead and read the title.
My sugar daddy asks me for weird favors.
This one is apparently pretty popular. This one's from Reddit NoSleep. What made you want to pick this one?
Well,
Do tell.
I myself have been known to have a sugar daddy. Absolutely not. I do not have a sugar daddy, but
I could go talk to him right now.
dude, he took me out for Valentine's Day, and he like kept putting his card down for things. I was like, "Ooh, daddy,
Baby.
I get it.
That's really funny.
I'm baby."
That's really funny.
Yeah, so maybe that's why I liked Lisa Frankenstein so much, because I didn't even pay to see it. Win-win.
Oh, okay, cool. Cool. So that was your Valentine's Day?
Yeah. Oh, it was
That's
fucking
really
amazing.
sweet.
We got some tacos and then went to Lisa Frankenstein. Best fucking date ever. The
That's
theater was
really
completely empty besides us and two other weird-looking couples, and I was like, yeah. And then we did a claw machine for rubber ducks. It was great.
That's fucking great.
Best date ever, honestly.
That's awesome.
And we both got a duck. Even more importantly, so yeah.
That's fantastic. When I think of just the title alone, I'm just, I don't know. You really, when it says sugar daddy, it's just like, are you actually a sugar baby, or are you an escort? And is this about to get really forceful? Like,
Yeah, that's true. You know what's funny
the
is
situation you're going to be put in. Literally, the last episode, I read a story about an escort with Sofa King. So, my mind is still on that relative situation.
understandable. I think I knew a few people who did like sugaring or sex work adjacent.
Correct. Yeah.
Sometimes sugaring too, but the thing about sugaring is that like the kind of sugar, like being a sugar baby that people like want, like the mythical kind.
Yeah.
It's the same mythical idea as marrying a man who works like all the time, leaves you alone, and gives you $50,000 every day.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure that he exists.
Yeah.
Like, and there's one of him.
Yeah.
And he already has the person he's doing that for.
Right.
But yeah, if you're gonna be a sugar baby, he's gonna want sugar. That's the point.
100%.
There are so few sugar daddies
that don't ask for anything.
that don't ask for anything in return. Like that's the whole fucking point.
It's
they
a
get
copacetic
sex.
relationship.
Exactly. They get sex. You get their money. Like that's literally the point. Hey, buddy. I think.
But
you're the only one
that goes by so many names. Oh, we did get the third one in here. Okay, so
you heard
so
about
Finn,
sugar daddies.
So Finn's now here.
Hey, buddy. Do you want to lay down? He's going to probably climb on my back. And so if my voice gets weird, it's because I have 20 pounds of cat.
It's
sitting
not
on my
because
lungs.
you're reading the story and you're going, ooh. It's because you got a cat on your lung.
Giant kitty cat.
You can go ahead and start whenever you're ready.
Yep.
Now that you have a cat on you.
Oh, was that you? Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
Are you going to say baby words? Couldn't let Padme have all the talking. Do not try to dig underneath me. He likes to burrow, but he doesn't have a
burrow.
He doesn't have a great concept of what he can dig through. I can see him trying to dig underneath me. That's not
He's like, what's under there? I want to go there.
I want to go to there. Okay, shall we?
Let me through. He looks so confused.
Go under the blanket. You like that.
No.
Exactly.
No movement. You don't tell me what to do.
He's such a bad baby.
Oh, okay. He's moving.
Alright, my sugar daddy asks me for weird favors. His Tinder profile said that he was 45, but he looked to be in his early 30s at most.
Hey, well, that's nice, at least.
Yeah, honestly, good for
Unless
him.
you like older guys, which, like, no, you know.
I have no feelings, actually, about, like, age in general. I mean, I would prefer to date somebody, like, you know, within 5 years of me.
For me, I think the lower you can get to double digits is the more acceptable it can be. Because I do look at, like, the Leonardo DiCaprio situation and say, a little bit.
Yeah, ew.
And even though I respect the man as an actor, I can't condone that shit.
No.
You're, like, 50 and you keep sleeping with, like,
He gets older, but his
20-year-olds.
girlfriends stay the same. Yeah, no. I'm very not about it because, like, I mean...
It's not a good look, either.
It's not. I mean, for me, the absolute youngest, I'm 28 right now. I would consider, even 22 feels so far away to me. And it's not that far, objectively. But, like, who I was when I was 23 and who I am at 28 are so fucking different. Like, it's just...
Yeah.
I just can't imagine dating somebody who's that early into their, life journey.
Being a 31-year-old, I think a 10-year gap for me is more than acceptable. I wouldn't date a 21-year-old. I would feel a little weird about bringing them around my family.
It just feels weird.
But I'm not saying that it wouldn't grow to be something more understandable or, like, even just makes sense, really. I don't think I've gone lower than, like, 5 years or higher than 5 years in either direction. The woman I'm dating right now is only a couple years older than me. I've always kind of skewed older, to be totally honest.
Same.
So for me, it's like, I don't know, sugar baby situation doesn't make sense to me personally, but, like, I get it. I get it. Just like I get any other corner of sex work.
Yeah, I can understand it for sure. I just think it's like, it's similar with OnlyFans too, though. Like, so many people join OnlyFans or do this, and they're like, but I'm not going to have sex, though. It's like, girl, then why are you here?
Why are you here?
You're wasting your time. You're not going to make any money.
For. Like, sorry. Anyway, the next line is literally what you were saying.
Looking for a sugar baby, $700 weekly, no sex. And for the record, that $700 is what I make right now weekly at my full-time job. Fun fact. So, it sounded too good to be true, but as a broke university student, I was willing to take my chances. I swiped right, and Tinder let me know it was a match. His message came seconds later.
Hey there, sweetheart, smiley face emoji.
I cringed at that word. I hated it, but $700 was $700, so I sucked it up and replied, hey, winky face. Honestly, good for her. $700 is indeed $700. His name was Jack, and he told me he owned his own business, although he never specified what kind of business it was. We talked for a while before he asked me for my Venmo to send me the first payment. After a few minutes, I got the notification. I stared at the $700 for at least 20 minutes, expecting to wake up from a dream at any second, but it wasn't a dream.
You still there? Question mark.
I clicked on the message. Yeah, sorry. If you don't mind me asking, what are you looking for in return? I stared at the chat until he replied.
I'm just looking for you to do a few favors for me, smiley face emoji.
He's a murderer. That sounded like it was going to be sexual to me. Like what?
For example, the first thing I need you to do is pick up a delivery for me.
That sounded innocent enough, but I was still expecting there to be some kind of a twist. $700 to pick up a package? Come on, even I wasn't that naive. From the post office or something?
No, I'll send you the address, but I'd rather not do this through Tinder. You got Kick, or you give me your number?
Sorry, fuck. Kick? When was this, 2011? We're gonna groom some kids, I guess.
Oh, no.
Not in the story, that was just me. I decided to give him my number instead, and he texted me the address immediately, followed by the address to his house, where I would have to drop off the package.
I'm not home right now, but there's a key on the bottom of the blue flower pot near the door. Go inside and put the package on the coffee table in the living room. Make sure that you lock the door when you go inside the house, and then lock it again when you leave.
I grabbed my car keys and wallet and got in my car, putting the address into Google Maps. Got it! OMW. My phone buzzed as I backed out of the driveway.
I'm serious. Lock the door both times, please.
I thought that was a little excessive, but I promised him that I would. The house looked abandoned. It had a broken chain link fence around it with a small door that was hanging on to dear life. It stuck out like a sore thumb, surrounded by houses that were a lot nicer than this one in comparison.
You here for Jack's shit?
I looked up to see a man standing in the open doorway of the house. He took up almost the entire space, his head skimming the top of the doorframe. He was huge in height and muscles, and his entire torso was covered in tattoos. Juicy, ditch the sugar daddy. Yeah, I guess, I replied, not moving from my spot on the sidewalk.
Stay right there,
he said. I did. I actually don't think I would have moved if he had asked me to. I looked around and realized that there was no one on the street. I was a 21-year-old woman alone in the street. I gripped my car keys. Yeah, you fucking moron. You didn't tell nobody where you were.
$700 is $700.
$700 is $700, but you could at least text your mom where the fuck you're going, or send your location or something.
That's
like, this is rookie shit.
This is rookie shit.
A few minutes later, the man came back out carrying a cardboard box. It was about the size of a shoebox, but stained and damp on some of the corners. Ugh.
Can you open your car door?
I opened the trunk, not wanting that inside my car seats, and he set it in.
All right, there you go.
Thanks, I replied. I walked around to the driver's side of the car and opened the door.
Oh, and one more thing?
I looked at him.
Watch out.
I didn't reply. What the fuck? I would leave that right the fuck there.
No.
Yeah, nope.
No.
Absolutely not. This is
back in my car and driving
Yep,
home.
nope. I would Venmo him back.
$700 back.
Yep, I'd give him back that $700 and I would fuck right off.
Harbinger of Doom just warned us to watch out.
Literally.
No, thank you.
I blasted my music as I drove to Jack's house, hoping it would drown out my anxiety. It
didn't.
No, it didn't. It's
No,
not drowning out mine.
That's not how it works.
I parked my car in the stone driveway and stayed inside the car admiring the house. It was a huge house, with stone pillars on the front porch and the greenest grass I had ever seen in my life. I turned the car off and got out, grabbed the package, walked to the front door, getting the key from where he said it would be. I opened the door and stepped in, closing it behind me. I thought about what he had said. About locking the door when I got inside. You better fucking lock this door. Two scaredy cats are like, you do what he says.
You're here, do it.
I thought that it was a little overboard, but as I stared at the closed door, something made me reach out and lock it. I walked inside, my feet cushioned by thick maroon carpet. Better to hide bloodstains.
I was gonna say, it started out white.
And admired the inside of the house. All the furniture was wooden and looked incredibly expensive. I would probably finish school a dozen times with the money it took to furnish this place. I set the package down on the coffee table, and as I walked back to the door, I heard a phone ringing from somewhere inside the house. I froze. In my pocket, my phone buzzed. I took it out to look.
Don't answer any calls that aren't from Marvin.
Okay. I put my phone back and followed the sound of the phone, poking my head into a few different rooms before I found it in an office. I walked over to the desk and looked at the caller ID.
Incoming call from Jack.
That was odd. I grabbed my phone to look at the message again. I was starting to get a bit creeped out and decided I wouldn't answer, just to be safe, and left the house, remembering to lock the door as I left. That is so fucking creepy.
Well, that was interesting.
I'm unnerved. No, I was expecting this to be goofy. This is not goofy at all. I love it.
No, I could have told you that this isn't going to be goofy.
I had a feeling it wasn't, but
this one was really well received on NoSleep.
Oh, really?
That doesn't strike me as something goofy. That strikes me as people liked how creepy this one was.
Yeah. I've done a few more favors for Jack since then. I drove a BMW to a random park in another city, only to get out and drive a different car back to Jack's house. He had me meet one of his employees at lunch, who then gave me a briefcase to deliver to the first house I had gone to and told me he would know if I looked inside. On several occasions, he asked me to drive down to that same house again and stay with the guy, whose name was Julio, for a certain amount of time. In total, I've made around $3,500. Most recently, Jack asked me to stay in his house overnight. I woke up to a text message from him.
I need you to spend the night at my house.
I don't like that. Nope, I don't think so. I had never seen him in person, but I had talked to him on the phone a few times. He proceeded to tell me he would pay me $1,000 to spend the night at his house, provided I followed a few rules. I drove to his house
totally
that evening.
Depends on what the fucking rules are.
Fucking rules. Also, you've been in that house. You know how fucking creepy it is. Are you shitting? I wouldn't do it. The driveway was empty, and it normally was, but the porch light was on. I walked up, unlocked the door, went inside, and then locked it again. Everything in the house looked the same. Jack had told me over the phone that he would leave the list of rules on the dining room table.
So you didn't get them beforehand?
Come on, girl. Rookie mistakes. I set all my stuff down in the living room. My bags looked like garbage compared to all the fancy furniture in there.
It probably doesn't help that I packed him in a hefty garbage bag.
I just kept packing. I just keep bringing garbage bags back and forth because I'm afraid of losing my suitcase to Julio.
Easier to dispose of is what he says.
He says I needed to buy red ones so that it would blend in with things and did not specify what things were. He says Marvin can fit in there.
I still have yet to meet Marvin.
I still have yet to meet Marvin, and
He sounds like a great guy.
And I've never received a phone call from him either. I wandered into the kitchen and then to the dining room. Sure enough, there was a piece of paper on the wooden table, held down by an empty glass.
Lock the door when you come in. Only answer calls from Marvin. Don't turn on any faucets between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. Don't open the doors for anyone, no matter who they say they are, after 10 p.m. If the door to the closet at the end of the hall is open, sleep in the library. If closed, sleep in any of the bedrooms. The gardener comes at midnight. If he starts knocking on the windows, hide. Turn the TV on and let it play on static through the night. Do not forget this, in caps. Help yourself to anything in the fridge, smiley face. I'll pay you in the morning. Good night, exclamation point. Alright, so... how many of these should we be aware of? Lock the door and the calls are to what we expect. The faucet is a little weird, but I can abide by it.
Mm-hmm. It would be
don't open
so
the door for
hard to
anyone, no
remember.
problem. I already don't plan on opening the door for
not
anyone.
gonna happen.
But this is the one that stopped me.
The door to the closet at the
If
end
the
of
door
the
at the
hall.
closet at the end of the hall is open, sleep in the library.
yet.
What the fuck does that mean?
If closed, sleep in any of the bedrooms. So something is in the fucking bedrooms. if
That's
that
what I'm
closet
saying.
door
Something is in
open.
the house.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
This is confirming that something's in the house, and then the next one I also don't like.
The gardener
You're telling me
comes-
someone's gonna come by?
and knock on the fucking windows at
No, thank
midnight.
you. The TV
No
one,
way.
the TV one, I already don't like because it makes me think of fucking like
Poltergeist.
one man hide and go seek,
Yep.
fucking that type of shit.
Nope,
Like,
absolutely
I'm
not.
over it.
Not playing.
Midnight Man, I'm over it.
No closet rules.
But yeah,
no way.
Help yourself to anything in the fridge. I'm all about that.
What's in there?
I don't know, some cheese or something.
Old cheese.
I like old cheese.
I made sure to follow all the rules. To be honest, I was regretting my decision.
I'm
No
regretting
shit.
your decision.
But seeing as I was already here and I was getting paid, I decided to stay anyway. I figured as long as I followed all the rules, I'd be perfectly fine. Still, it felt a little odd. What was this, a haunted house?
It's
Yes.
probably way worse than that.
Nevertheless, I lounged around the house for a few hours. I was planning on going to sleep around 9, since that's the time all the weird shit would begin to happen. At 8:50, I brushed my teeth.
Very smart idea.
I
It's not
brushed my
bad.
teeth using the faucet for the last time before 9. I checked the closet in the hallway, and upon seeing it was open, I moved my stuff in the library and got ready to sleep on the couch. If I saw that was open, I would simply leave right then. That means he's out. He's out and about. He's just hanging out in the fucking bedrooms. I moved my stuff in the library and got ready to sleep on the couch. I locked two doors. I locked the doors
yeah.
just in case, and laid on the couch scrolling through my phone. I hadn't gotten any more messages from Jack, and I started to think up scenarios and reasons as to why he had such strict, peculiar sets of rules in this house. I dozed off at some point because at exactly 10:16 p.m. I was woken up by the doorbell ringing. I was about to get up to check, and then I remembered the rule.
Don't open the door for anyone, no matter who they say they are, after 10 p.m.
I stayed on the couch, trying not to move, paranoid that they would hear even the slightest sound.
It's the police. Open up.
I didn't move.
Hello? It's the police. Open up, or we're coming in.
I still didn't move, but I could hear my heartbeat in my ears. There was silence for a while after that. Then the doorbell rang again.
Hey, it's Jack. Let me in.
It sounded like Jack, but still, I didn't get up. He would have a key, wouldn't he?
Yes, he would. Good girl.
Why would he need me to let him in? This continued for almost a full hour. Different people would ring the doorbell, announce themselves, and then disappear when I didn't respond.
Good on you for never responding.
Good girl. Yeah, well, I mean, if I heard that shit, like, how many
The
people...
cops would make me double
Yeah,
take.
the cops was a good one.
I'd probably check a window or something.
Yep. And then that would
And then
not
when
be
you
good.
wouldn't see the cops, I would, you know.
But I was finally able to fall asleep, and the gardener never came.
Thank fucking God.
When I woke up the next morning, I heard someone in the kitchen. I got up slowly and unlocked the door as quietly as possible, taking my phone with me and walking across the living room into the kitchen. I stopped at the entrance and peered in. It was Jack. He was standing in front of the stove, stirring something as the coffee machine brewed coffee on the counter behind him.
Hey, good morning.
He said when he saw me. Hi, I replied, nervous. I hadn't seen him in person before, but he looked exactly like his pictures online.
Scrambled eggs?
He asked, motioning to the pan with a wooden spoon. Yeah, thanks, I replied, walking over to take the plate from him. I ate my breakfast and drank some coffee in silence.
So, how was it?
It was okay. Nothing super freaky happened.
Cool.
There was an awkwardness in the room. I think I'm gonna go now. I have class. I trailed off. I didn't, but I really wanted to get out of there.
Oh no, yeah, sure. I'll talk to you some other time.
I grabbed my stuff, and he walked me out to my car. I could see him standing in the driveway, staring at me as I left. When I got home, I unpacked all my stuff and noticed that I still had the list with me. I sat on the bed and read it again. I felt my body tense up as I realized that I had forgotten something.
Turn on the TV and let it play on static through the night. Do not forget this, in caps. Turn the TV and let it play on static through the night. Do not forget to do this. Do not forget to do this.
I'm panicking.
I am too.
I stared at the words on the page until they lost meaning. Beside me, my phone buzzed, snapping me back to reality. It was the $1,000 payment. I looked at the phone, and then back to the list. Maybe it wasn't an important step? As I was thinking this over, a text from Jack came in.
I'm not in town right now. I should be back next week. So you're free from running any more errands for me until then. Just sent the payment. Go do something fun, winky face.
I stared at the message and read it again. And again. And once more for good measure.
I'm not in town right now.
I thought back to this morning, how Jack was in the house, how he gave me breakfast.
I'm not in town right now.
Within minutes, a new text came in, this time from a number I didn't recognize.
Did you forget to do something, winky face?
A text was followed by a picture of Jack, or whoever this version of Jack was, standing in front of the TV. I didn't respond. Next came another picture. This one was of the outside of my house. It was followed by another text.
Watch out.
Girl, you dead. She dead. She's dead. She posted
The
that
list
from
was
beyond
so
the
critical
grave.
that I actually did forget about that step.
I did too.
I'm upset now that I fell for it. I fell for the gimmick. Oh,
What was the
I
gimmick?
liked it.
Which gimmick would you say?
Just I fell for, like, missing something in a list the same way she did.
Yeah.
Like, I was too focused on the ones that upset me. Like the library closet.
Yep.
And then her plan, like, now I'm thinking about the holes in her plan.
Yep. And
'Cause,
She talked about all of the stuff that she did. She did not address the things she didn't do
Right.
because she didn't do them. And she
She
was
didn't-
so specific
She
about the
didn't
steps.
really address them.
Yeah.
Yo, she's dead. He killed her.
So that strikes me as one of those, like, analog horror ones where
Yeah.
they talk about how there are certain houses in, like, America that are completely empty and they only have TVs in them.
Yeah.
And it's because the TVs, like, apparently something apparently comes out of the TVs and tries to, like, consume people by convincing it's a person or
Yeah.
something like that.
Which is scary.
It certainly is.
Yeah, that was creepy. That was really, like, solidly creepy. I had a great time with that one.
That was good. It was quick. It was fun. I liked it. Now
notes.
I'm going to read your second pick, which was Limping Woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one is also from NoSleep. I think all of today's episodes are from NoSleep, so I'm going to stop saying that. You got your reminder right now. Every episode is from NoSleep. This one is called The Limping Woman, which just already, right off the bat, I limp places fairly often because I have very weak ankles. Don't be afraid of me. I'm not undead. I'm just in pain. And,
That's what a zombie would want you to think.
Fuck, you're so right. Never mind. Kill me. Run me over with your car.
Headshot, double tap.
You hear the uneven footsteps first. Drag click. Drag click. That's how you know she's behind you. The heel is broken off of her left shoe and she drags it across the ground with every step. A sharp contrast to the steady click of her still intact pump.
Help me.
She whispers, in an urgent, anguished please.
Please, I'm hurt. Help me.
Don't turn around. That's when she gets you. Don't run. She still gets you, but this time, she's gonna make it hurt. At least, that's the rumor anyway.
Ugh,
That's all I got for now. Bye-bye.
Bye. Story over.
Every small town has at least one, a local urban legend that everyone knows and swears it's true because their best friends, sisters, cousins, neighbors, grandson knew a fella who actually encountered it. Ours was the Limping Woman, so named for her aforementioned distinct gait. It was said that she was a teacher at the elementary school some decades before, young, beautiful, and the victim of a terrible murder. She had been walking home to the house she shared with her parents one night after school when she realized she was being followed. She sped up and so did her pursuer until both were running down the dark country lane with only open farmland on either side.
Dang.
Her heel had broken and her ankle had snapped, and she fell, and her pursuer became her murderer. It was slow, torturous. A torturous affair that left her beaten and covered in stab wounds, and when the killer was done, he just left her to bleed out beside the road. She wasn't found until the next morning, and by then, all anyone could do was search the person responsible. While some believe the man was caught and dealt with not long after, others think he's still at large, and the Limping Woman, as the victim came to be known, won't rest until her killer is caught. I was always skeptical, at best, of the story. I'd passed the spot where she was supposed to appear 100 times without incident, as everyone else I knew. If a murderous ghost lived there, I was pretty sure I'd have seen her. I said as much to my friend Steffi when she brought up that a friend of a friend of a friend had met the Limping Woman during lunch at school one day.
It's true. She was out on the old highway a couple of nights ago and saw her.
Steffi insisted stubbornly over our sandwiches. If she actually saw her, wouldn't she be dead? I asked. I thought you weren't supposed to turn around.
Hurt her, whatever. You know what I mean, Rena.
Sure, I said, with a roll of my eyes. It was always frustrating that Steffi and I didn't share her willingness to believe the unbelievable, so how'd she get away?
She said the words, duh.
Oh, right, the woman's last words, the last words we all somehow know without ever having caught the one person who would have heard them.
We know them because the real killer was never caught. He told people who told other people.
And we all just magically knew to use them to ward off being killed, I finished for her. Steffi frowned. She loved all things spooky and supernatural and had spent a lot of time researching our local legends, especially the Limping Woman.
It's not magic. It just reminds her of her own mother, and she gets distracted by her grief and leaves you alone.
Okay, I said, hoping that would be enough to put an end to the topic. It was an argument neither of us would win, and I didn't feel like getting into it again over whether or not a ghost was real. And at 15, it was starting to sound silly. Steffi, however, wasn't going to let me off so easily.
They say she remains because they got the wrong guy. Here, let me start that over. They say she remains because they got the wrong guy, and she's angry about it. Like, everyone knew it, but no one cared because they wanted to blame someone. Don't you feel at least a little bad for her? She's still waiting for justice after all this time.
Steffi.
She only goes after people who don't believe in her, you know.
I didn't like the way Steffi said that. Like she had an idea forming that I wouldn't approve of, and I shook my head. Whatever it is, no.
We could go out there, out to the spot she haunts.
No, don't be dumb.
You don't believe me anyway, so what's the big deal?
I've walked past there a lot, okay? Nothing's ever happened.
Have you gone after dark?
Steffi had started to smile. No, but so what?
That's when she's active. Going in the day doesn't count.
This is dumb.
We'll go tonight.
Every argument I had was met with questions of whether I was too afraid, and Steffi mocking me for being chicken. She kept it up for the rest of lunch through our shared science class and then passed me notes in the halls between classes after that, and by the time the final bell rang, she had worn me down. But not because I believe she's there. I made sure she know. I'm just going so that you shut up. The sun set just after 5 that evening. At 7, we met up on our bikes in front of my neighborhood. Her parents thought she was doing a project at mine. Mine thought I was at hers. And we had 2 hours to ride out to the farm where the Limping woman was said to haunt and get back before they started trading phone calls. You are going to ride out on your bikes for 2 hours to get there? Or nah.
I think, well, they said 2 hours to ride out there and get get back.
So if
it's like,
if it's an hour and or maybe 45 minutes away, you're already too fucking far from home with a transportation device that is not going to accommodate being chased by something.
Yeah.
You will get tired.
Yep.
It will catch up. I foresee this happening.
Rookie mistake. And they even said that, like, the whole reason she died was that she was out on the farm. So, like, there's nothing around.
Right.
Like, there's no one to help you.
Right.
That's the whole point.
We pedaled hard and fast, leaving behind the glow from windows and street lamps until darkness swallowed all the world around us. With only moonlight to guide us, we wove our way across town and passed into the outskirts where the insects were louder, the stars brighter, and the safety that came from feeling like you were that you were surrounded by other people fell away. It was hard not feeling entirely exposed out on that old road where flat fields rolled off into the distance on either side. There was the occasional barn or farmhouse set a ways off down long dusty drives, but otherwise it really was just us and our bikes and the night.
Up ahead.
Steffi said from behind me.
See the cross? That's the marker for her.
We skid to a stop a few yards away from it and exchanged a glance almost lost in the shadows.
Scared?
She asked, breathless with excitement. No, I said. It was an honest enough answer. I was nervous, sure. But who wouldn't be when you're outside after dark?
Remember, if you turn around, she gets you. If you try to run, she makes it worse. Just stand still when she's close by and say the words.
Steffi spoke so seriously that I had to stifle a giggle. It was ridiculous. I kept trying to tell that all the butterflies stirring in my stomach, but it didn't do much good. We climbed off our bikes and set them on their kickstands. Steffi groped about for my hand and twined her fingers with mine. She was shaking.
Ready?
Let's just get it over with. We walked up to where the cross was placed and paused. Steffi squeezed my hand and took in a slow, shuddering breath. Her fear was starting to have an effect on me, quickening my heartbeat, but I squared my shoulders and clenched my jaw and took a step forward. We crept along the roadside, careful to keep our eyes pointed straight ahead. Steffi kept reminding me in a trembling whisper that looking anywhere else could lead to trouble. A minute or two passed. It couldn't have been longer despite feeling like it, and nothing seemed to happen. My fear began to ebb, replaced by an admittedly relieved giddiness that I had been right, and I almost turned to Steffi to say, I told you so, but then I realized how quiet it was. All the insects that had been singing loudly when we arrived had gone silent. There was no distant calls from night birds, no breeze passing over us, nothing, just the sound of our own breathing. And to my surprise, Steffi sighed, disappointed, and I wondered if she'd had somehow, I wondered if she realized how quiet everything had become, and how could she not feel how claustrophobic it had become, out on that open road, how closed off we were in the dark and the silence. I wanted to ask her, but the question like a knot in my throat that couldn't untangle. And behind us, grass rustled, followed by the crunch of loose gravel underfoot, like someone was pulling themselves slowly out of the field and onto the road. Drag, click. Drag, click. Every hair on my body stood up at once.
Rena?
I hadn't realized that my grip on Steffi's hand had tightened so much I could feel her eyes on me, but couldn't bring myself to look at her. From somewhere over my shoulder, a woman started to sob softly.
Help me.
She cried plaintively.
Rena?
Steffi said again. She's coming, I managed to whisper. Instead of being scared, Steffi snorted.
Real funny. I get it, okay? The limping woman's just made up. I'm convinced now. You don't have to rub it in.
Drag, click, drag, click. The unmistakable sound of someone inching towards us, slowly, painfully crying out with each step.
Please. I'm hurt and he's still out there.
Steffi, I hissed, tears burning in my eyes. She's coming. There must have been something in my voice, a tightness that only true terror could cause, that convinced my friend that I wasn't just pretending. She grabbed my forearm with her other hand and clutched it until her nails were digging into my skin.
She only goes after people who don't believe. That must be why.
What do? I begged, my mind white and blank. My entire body was screaming to run, to get away from that thing that was getting closer and closer, but Steffi's firm grasp and my own mounting dread held me in place.
Please, turn around. Help me. The words.
Steffi said hurriedly.
You have to say the words when she's right behind you.
What words? I wanted to scream, but I couldn't speak or think. I could only hear her drag, click, drag, click. The legend said you'd hear her uneven footsteps and be forced to listen to her pleas, but no one ever mentioned the smell. The stench of rot and earth and blood oozed through the air, and slowly surrounding me and wrapping itself around me like tentacles smothering me. I gagged and pressed my free hand over my mouth and shook my head violently, trying to clear it, trying to make sense of things. Steffi was jerking on my arm and saying something to me over and over again, but I could barely hear her over the limping woman's cries. The smell was getting so strong, making my stomach pitch and heave until I thought I'd be sick. I leaned heavily on Steffi, and she pulled me in close so that her lips were beside my ear. Through the veil of panic and nausea, I heard her scream.
Say the words!
Drag, click, drag, click. The limping woman was so close behind us now that I could feel the chill radiating off of her. The words, I thought. I had to say the words. It just reminds me of her and her own mother, and she gets distracted by her grief and leaves you alone. I heard Steffi's voice from the previous day echo in my head. Her mother. The words remind her of her mother, the limping one's last words. Please, bile rose in the back of my throat. My mother's waiting for me. And the footsteps stopped and were placed by a high-pitched, heart-wrenching keen. From somewhere off in the right, a dog started to howl. Insects began to sing again. The wind whistled around the field, sounds of normalcy, of life. The limping woman continued to screech while I found my legs again, and with Steffi in tow, tore back to the bikes. I never once looked up from the ground. The only thing I saw as we darted by was a pair of feet in torn stockings and pumps, the heel of which one was missing. We didn't stop riding until we made it back to my lawn, and when we got there, I raced to the bushes to the side of the house and vomited. Steffi claims she didn't hear or see anything that night, but she believes that I did. She believes that I encountered the limping woman. I tried to come up with some kind of rationalization for it, like power of suggestion or something, but when I think back to those footsteps, and those sobs, and the final scream, I know that there's only one explanation. And now I, too, believe in the limping woman.
It's great.
That's fun. That's old school.
Yeah, that's good.
That's scary stories to tell in the dark type
scary,
shit.
Shitty.
That is an urban legend. That is the funnier side of how those stories can affect people. And when I was little, I did that shit to people I knew all the fucking time.
Evil. See, I would have been the bitch who was like, yeah, I know exactly what I'd be like, oh, the limping woman's out there? Yeah, she is.
Yeah, she is. She's gonna fucking get you. Fuck you.
She's gonna fucking get you. But you know what? Actually, even if I didn't believe she was out there, am I gonna test if it's true? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I will not be testing that hypothesis. Someone else can go test it. Not me, though.
Not me. That's not going to be something I
me.
test.
Nope. Somebody would be like, oh, if you don't believe me, come out and see for yourself. I would be like, no,
I'm not gonna do that.
I'm not gonna believe you, and I'm not fucking going out there. That's not happening either.
This is one I picked for you to read.
Okay.
I believe the title was pretty cool. And it reminds me of a story we've read before. So, I picked "My Student Submitted the Most Disturbing Living History Project I've Ever Seen."
Oh boy. Is he gonna come back and say his granddaddy lived in Argentina for a long time? Because he did some very bad things when he was young and in the army.
Oh no.
Sorry, that's just my immediate thought.
It's fair enough. Living history. What is a living history? Is that your family or just a family or just a person?
I think it's an old person. It's like somebody who has lived through history.
Oh, okay.
I think is that like they'll call someone living history because there's. I mean, we're gonna be living history because we lived through the pandemic,
Right.
which is dumb.
So a living history project is someone going and interviewing those people and asking them questions, probably?
I think so.
All right.
Or
I'm
they
into
maybe
it.
bring them in to talk to the class. I
Maybe
don't
that
know.
too. But yeah, you could take it away whenever.
All right. One of my least favorite parts about being a middle school history teacher is the bullshit living history assignments we give at the end of every school year. This is off to a great start.
Yeah.
One of the best parts about being an adult is having friends who are teachers who are like,
Oh
so
no, I
fucking
have
hungover.
several friends that are teachers.
I'm so
It's really-
fucking hungover. I'm gonna put this fucking TV on. The kids are gonna watch the fucking Lion King, and if any of them talks to me, I'm gonna blow up this whole school. It's great. It really brings together some of the shit that happened when I was a kid.
Yeah, one of my best friends is a teacher, and he just constantly talks shit about his students.
Yeah, my best friend and my old roommate are both teachers. My old roommate is a middle school English teacher, and my best friend is a high school art teacher, but she just transitioned to doing like K through 12 at a school for kids with disabilities.
My friend does high school English.
Yeah. Oh my god. That means that they're either really cool or like the worst person alive, at least.
No, they're my friend, so they have good taste, and I trust that the stuff they're showing those kids is pretty cool too.
Kids are supposed to sit with their grandparents and videotape, voice record, or transcribe their oldest memories for posterity and for an easy way to bring up their GPA.
Okay, got it.
I have been doing this for 17 years, and when I collected the projects this time around, I would assume they would be as dull, if not duller, than usual. This had not been a particularly bright class. Brutal.
I mean, fair.
Damn. So I went home, poured myself a glass of wine, and prepared for a long night of I only owned 2 pairs of pants when I was your age, and my brother got beat with a newspaper for hitting a baseball into a neighbor's yard. And of course, these projects were peppered with innocent old person comments that were so horribly sexist and racist, you just had to laugh.
Of course.
Now, I had a girl in my class whom I will call Olivia. She was pudgy, quiet, and proved herself a consistent B student. I think that if somebody called me pudgy, quiet, and a consistent B student, I would immediately kill myself.
Probably,
like, on the spot.
and I wasn't thinking that was a very positive way to describe someone.
I expected her project to be as unremarkable as her. Jesus.
Oh my god.
This is a child. Didn't they say they were in middle school? This is a child. This is a literal child. Okay, let's bully this kid. And perhaps that's why I was so profoundly disturbed by what I witnessed that night. Olivia had submitted 2 discs for some reason.
Oh no.
Oh boy. So I began with the one marked interview. My screen hiccuped twice before a grainy image of a living room came into view. The place was a hoarder's hell. Olivia was curled up in an armchair, clutching a notebook and looking like a scared animal. Across from her sat a man with a somber countenance, smoking a cigarette and staring at her expectantly.
I'll read for the grumpy old man.
Please do.
But it's the mom who's actually behind the camera.
Go ahead. The woman's voice whispered from behind the camera. Olivia's owlish eyes flashed towards the screen, then back to the man. I am here with my great-uncle Stephen, she began almost inaudibly. He's going to tell us about his oldest memories from being in the army. Great-uncle Stephen looked like he'd rather be in a goddamn trench at the moment, but he waited patiently for all the questions to begin. Not surprisingly, Olivia read verbatim from the suggested question sheet I had handed out to the students. He answered her curtly. Once or twice, I heard her mother whisper, "Speak up, Olivia," from behind the counter. The camera, not counter. Typical boring shit. Jesus.
I love it.
I know, this lady's a
I
fucking
actually love
cunt.
it.
No, I love
this
it.
chick's a bitch, but I love it.
So I was intrigued when Olivia set down the notebook and asked, "Did you like being in the army?" That was totally off script. Great Uncle Stephen emitted a chain smoker's wheeze.
Nope. Glad to get out of my town, though.
Where did you go?
Balkans.
Uh-huh, she said. I doubted she knew what the Balkans were, and my suspicion was confirmed when she asked,
Was Oh, sorry.
No, please, that was so funny. Please.
No, you do it.
Was Balkans very different from here?
Yes.
Mom cleared her throat from behind the camera, perhaps encouraging Great Uncle Stephen to be a little more forthcoming. But Olivia seemed genuinely interested. Mom cleared her throat from behind the camera, perhaps encouraging Great Uncle Stephen to be a little more forthcoming. But Olivia seemed genuinely interested. "Uncle Stephen," she asked, "what is your very worst memory from the army?"
Oh, no.
What the fuck? What kind? Why are you letting her ask that question? The old man crushed his cigarette in the ashtray and then slowly lifted himself out of his chair.
I'll be back,
He mumbled. The camera cut off. When the screen flashed back on, everything was the same, except Great Uncle Stephen had several pieces of paper in plastic sleeves laid atop all the crap sitting on his coffee table. One he held in his hand.
I was a kid when I enlisted.
He said, looking at Olivia.
Your brother's age.
He told her. Olivia nodded.
I never saw combat. Both of my deployments were to cities in Eastern Europe that had been destroyed by civil wars. Everything was a mess. I felt like a janitor, for fuck's sake.
Ahem. Mom coughed. Great Uncle Stephen sighed and looked at his paper.
My unit was assigned to a school that had been obliterated by all the violence. Broken windows, caved-in rooms, and for some reason, the part that got to me the most was the school had been like this for years before we got there. No one had lifted a finger to fix it. I saw kids walk by it on their way to go beg for money or whatever shit they did at the time.
The camera dipped towards the floor as I heard Mom whisper harshly at Great Uncle Stephen. I couldn't make out what she was saying, but it wasn't hard to imagine.
Do you want to hear this goddamn story or not?
I heard him bark in response.
Then you better let me tell it how I want.
Mom, Olivia chimed, please stop interrupting.
Are you presenting this in front of the class?
No, Mom, we're just handing it to the teacher.
I'm sure he's heard worse than the word shit before.
Great Uncle Stephen contributed helpfully. I wasn't a he, as a matter of fact, but other than that, the statement was accurate. The camera was lifted, and after a couple of blurry focus adjustments, the shot was the same as before.
I'm talking too much anyway.
He grumbled. He lifted the piece of paper in his hand close to his face.
In the basement, I found this letter. I didn't know what it said, but I had a buddy of mine translate it, so I'm gonna read it now, and then I'll tell you what I saw in that basement.
A chill ran down my spine. Mom zoomed in to Great Uncle Stephen and his letter. His palsied hands trembled as he held up the paper. This is what he read.
Dear Sir, I never loved my country. So many of these skirmishes are born from patriotism, a power struggle for the shards of a once great empire, but I do not care what name my home has on a map. The fighting is senseless, and I stay as far away from it as I can. It was not these attacks and disorganized violence that took the lives of my wife and child. It was illness. Mercifully, it had happened quickly for the baby. Nadia suffered for longer. I watched in horror, knowing I could do nothing for them. My only solace is that I was there for them every step of the way. I stopped going to work one day, and no one came after me. I doubt they noticed I was gone. Since the school was simply across a field visible from my window, it would have been easy to go for a few hours each day and come home quickly to care for them. But what was the point? All I did was clean floors. I was as useless to the world as I was to my family. I tried to take Nadja to the hospital, but the journey was too long and taxing. I brought her home and she died that night. After Nadja and the baby were gone, well, I don't remember much. I didn't leave my hovel, barely ate and slept, thought many times of taking my own life. Tempting though it was, I felt paralyzed by my own helplessness. The one thing that kept me sane was my radio. I never turned it off once. Even though I didn't listen to the words being said, in fact, the channel I got the clearest was English, I think, which I don't speak a lick of. But the voices, the music, the true knowledge that life existed beyond this violent city sustained me. I have no idea how long passed before I saw the light of day again. I was dizzy from hunger, so finding food was my priority. My radio came with me, of course, and since I first holed myself up, it has gone everywhere with me. It talks to me as I sleep and as I wake, and I don't know what it's saying, but I know I would die without it. Once I had some water and food, it occurred to me that the only thing left to do was go back to work, so I did. The following morning, I simply returned to the school where I was janitor and got back to work. Nobody made a big deal out of it. Like I said, Nadia had been sick for a long time, and those who worked at the school knew it. I appreciate that no one had pestered me to come back to work during the hardest days of my life. The teachers never said much to me, but we smiled at each other in the halls, and that mutual respect was perhaps the reason I decided to come back at all. The place had gone to the dogs without me, so I simply grabbed my broom and rags from my closet and set to cleaning. Everyone is grateful to have me back, I know, and the best part is that nobody minds my radio. I bring it with me everywhere and keep the volume low enough not to disrupt the students. No one has ever complained. In fact, I suspect they like it. The schoolhouse is not very big, but does require a lot of maintenance. The floors are always sticky and stained, so I spend most of my time mopping. Kids make messes. I guess that's why I'm still in business. Sometimes I have to move things around to make sure I get every spot on the floor beautiful and clean, but I take pride in that. And the repairs. The school always needs tune-ups here and there, and I am happy to help. Some days I'm reconstructing a desk that broke as I whistle along with the radio. Other times I handle more serious structural issues. Days when I have work like this, I feel truly instrumental, like a cog in a larger machine. How could this school survive without me? It took me a long time, but I once again feel that I have purpose. There's a larder behind the school that is full of preserved food. In lieu of payment, I'm allowed to take as much food as I need. The arrangement is fine. What would I do with money anyway? I used to bring the food back to my home, just one field away from the school, but when I started sleeping in the basement, no one seemed to notice. The school is special to me, and I cannot leave it unguarded. When I am besieged with memories of my wife and baby, I turn up the volume on the radio to drown out such thoughts. It works for me every time, except for this morning, because this morning I woke up to dead silence. I frantically examined the radio to see what had happened. I honestly cannot tell you how many days in a row I have been using it. Did it simply live out its life and die naturally? I've spent the entire day trying to fix it. Most of the time I have been crying. I am losing my mind without it. I have given myself until sundown. If I cannot fix it by then, I'm going to take my life. I'm writing this because the sunlight is starting to die, and I know what my fate shall be. I have thought about taking one last walk through the halls of my school, saying goodbye to the students and teachers. I know I will be missed, but I cannot bring myself to leave this room. I cannot go anywhere knowing that my radio is dead in here. There are no more tears in me. It feels now like I can't catch my breath. I vomited what little food I had in my stomach, and I am growing dizzy again, like I did after Nadia died. I am not long for this world. But before I take my life, I have closed the door to this room and stuck a chair beneath the handle. It is the only room in the basement and has a small casement that lets it in just enough light for me to see what I am doing. If anyone is kind enough to come looking for me, they should not be met with a gruesome sight. Perhaps they will see the door is locked, smell my rotting body, and simply forget I ever existed. But I have placed both my radio and this note outside the door. Kind sir, if you are reading this, I have one humble request. Please fix it. Save my radio. It did not deserve to die in its sleep, and I am ashamed that I cannot revive it. Now I am ready to join Nadja and little Ludmilla in heaven. I hope this school can find another janitor who loves and cares for it the way I do. The hour is now. Do not forget my radio. Stanislav.
When Mom zoomed back out, Olivia had tears in her eyes. Thank you for sharing, Uncle Stephen, Mom said, her voice choked. I think we have enough. Wait, Olivia chirped. He said there's more. What did you find? Before Uncle Stephen could open his mouth, the image disappeared. My jaw dropped. What was it? Was that it? What did Uncle Stephen see? I promptly remembered that there was a second disc. This one was unmarked, but I hoped it would contain the rest of the interview. There was no video, only audio. The voice that started up was Olivia's. Hi, Miss Garrity. I'm sorry about my mom, but she refused to record the rest of what my uncle was saying. No. Oh, no. But I asked him to continue and secretly recorded the story.
Oh, no.
As a voice memo on my phone. I remember you said earlier this year that history is written by the people who win wars. She sucked in a breath and commenced crying. But everyone's history is important, even if they're sad, pathetic people, and even if they never won a single thing in their life.
Aw.
I haven't slept through the night since I finished this project, but you have to hear what my uncle has to say. There were tears in my eyes, too. The sincerity of her words was beautiful. I was also flattered that she remembered some trite phrase I threw around because that was what my history teacher said to me. Before I got too sappy over it, the audio began again. Fine, came Mom's frustrated voice. If you want to hear the rest of the story, fine. But this is not appropriate for a school project.
Let me finish.
Great Uncle Stephen snapped.
If it's too much for you, help yourself to a snack in the kitchen, but Olivia wants to know what happened.
I heard her mother mumble something and walk away. Olivia and her uncle were alone. I imagined her looking at him expectantly. So, did you find the radio? Or did it get ruined when the school got blown up? He rasped, and I heard the distinct click of a lighter.
That letter,
He began slowly.
had a date on it.
What date? She inquired hungrily.
It was dated 2 weeks before we started rebuilding the school.
Didn't you say the school had been destroyed like 2 years ago?
Yes. It had been.
There was silence as I felt goosebumps on my arms. The images that came to my mind were almost too overwhelming to express, but Great Uncle Stephen put them into words effortlessly. Clearly, he had spent his whole life thinking about it.
This man, this Stanislav, went to a vandalized, falling apart schoolhouse and cleaned up blood and rubble like it was spilled drinks and dust. He smiled at dead bodies in the hallway and believed they were smiling back at him because they liked his radio. He moved around corpses so he could sweep the ground under them. The roof was half collapsed, so when it rained, he must have gotten soaking wet, but was so oblivious that he didn't feel a thing.
I could hear Olivia crying steadily.
I found the larder he was talking about, and it was all pickled, preserved food that probably tasted like shit. Most of the stuff was moldy.
Did you see the dead body?
Yes, hanging from the ceiling, but still amazingly lifelike. He wasn't rotting away. This hadn't happened years ago.
Did he look peaceful? She asked, a chord of desperation in her voice.
Couldn't tell you. The smell was rank, and his face was blue, and his eyes were bulging like this.
I imagined him demonstrating. In the radio? Olivia wept. I heard Great Uncle Stephen take a long drag of his cigarette.
It was there, all right. And it was still on.
Oh,
no.
So he was just a crazy.
He
just
was
lost.
crazy, but did a ghost fix his radio and turn it back on?
Maybe.
Big old spooky spook.
See, I immediately thought that it was just never off in the
Big
first
old
place.
spooky. Well, I actually believe him. I think if all the insanity was associated to the things he was forcing himself not to see, then he was going by what he was hearing.
Right.
And if all he was hearing was music and it was drowning out the other senses, I think, like, silence is one of the only things that, like, deafened him, that changed his life. So, I don't know. Unreliable narrator, for sure. Never know the outcome. I still like the story.
It was good.
It was pretty neat.
It was solid. Poor Olivia.
I got one more quick one.
Olivia's scarred for life.
That I'm gonna read, and yeah, no, I would be too. That teacher should feel a little bit bad, at least a little bit bad. And much on the same note, I'm gonna read something with a very similar title because it's just what stood out to me at the time. Something happened 63 years ago that's haunted me my entire life, and I've never told anyone about it until now.
Until just now. That's hilarious.
I'm just gonna decide to type it up here on Reddit NoSleep and just share with y'all. It's just a little sharing corner, sharing time.
Yeah, really. Everybody's
I'm
sharing.
60, 70 something, and I'm finally ready to admit that I'm a murderer.
I am a murderer.
I don't know. What do you think?
I think something happens. I think it's like we broke into a house when we were kids and saw something so
We
fucked
saw a
up.
dead body.
Yeah, and we told nobody. It's like a fucking Stand By Me kind of situation.
We saw someone fucking a corpse.
It was
It
disgusting.
was pretty cool.
They were cousins. That's what was really fucked
This
up.
one starts off real great. It's official. I'm an old man.
Damn.
Damn.
63.
That's what
Come
I'm
on.
No. 63 years ago was the time. the
Oh
event
shit.
happened.
Okay, yeah, never
He
mind.
could be
So
any
he is
age
old.
above 63.
Okay, yeah, so he is old.
For the last couple of years, I've comforted myself by saying I'm only in my early 70s, but math is simply unforgiving. Today is my 75th birthday, and God to heaven. God, the years do fly.
Jesus, yeah.
I'm not here for your well wishes. This is hardly a milestone I'm excited about. I'm glad to still be here, of course, but I find that I have less and less to live for with every passing year. Holy shit.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, my bones ache. My kids live far away. The other side of my bed has been empty for just over 8 months now. In fact, once I cast my vote against that goddamn Trump this November, I may have nothing to live for at all.
Good.
So spare me your happy birthdays and your congratulations, if you please. I'm here because I have a story for you, and it's one I've never told before. I used to think it kept me inside because it was silly, or maybe because nobody would believe it, but I found, though, that the older you grow, the more exhausting it becomes to lie to yourself. If I'm being perfectly honest, I've never told anyone this story because it scares me, almost to death. But death seems friendlier than it used to. So, listen close.
Ooh.
The year was 1950, the setting a small town in Maine. Stephen King, ready?
Very.
Clown eat my brother.
God damn it.
I was a boy of 9, rather
hate
small for my age. I hate clowns that hang out in sewers and eat little kids.
So much. I hate all clowns. Like, I know in my brain that the regular ones are just a dude with a job, and that does help, but I don't want them to be, like, close to me. I want them to do the job somewhere
I want
else.
nothing. I want nothing to do with it.
No, but once they have teeth, I'm done.
There are some things that should have been aged out by history and time.
Yes.
If the Walkman is one of those things, then clowns should absolutely be on that list.
We should be done with clowns. We have YouTubers, which is the same
Which
thing
is the
now.
same thing now.
I can't.
Which is why people have podcasts, right?
Yes, right. Because we're clowns.
Because we're clowns.
We're fucking funny clowns, and we're here to clown
I'm
around.
gonna dance. I'm gonna do a little dance.
Do you want me to dance for you?
Do a little dance for you.
Sponsor us.
I was a boy of 9, rather small for my age, with only one friend in the world to speak of, and his family, seemingly on a whim, decided to move 2,000 miles away. It was shaping up to be the worst summer of my life.
Yeah, that sucks, man.
My pops wasn't around, and my mom was a chore whore. Boy, was I proud of myself when I came up with that one, so I wasn't apt to hanging around the house. With some hesitation, I decided the public library was the place to be that summer, and the library's collection of books, particularly children's books, was meager to say the least. But within the walls of that miserable structure, I would find no undone chores, no nagging mother, God rest her soul, and perhaps most importantly, no other children with whom I would expected to associate. I was the only kid with low enough social status to spend his precious days of freedom sulking amid the bookshelves, and that was fine for me. The first half of the summer was even more dreadful than I had imagined it would be. I would sleep until 10, do my chores, and then ride my bike to the library, and by bike I mean rusty log of shit attached to a pair of wheels. Once there, I would split my time being unintentionally annoying the elderly patrons and deliberately doing so. One pleasant lady actually interrupted my incessant tongue clicking to hiss a "shut the fuck up" at me. The first time I ever heard a grown-up use the F word, it was a big fucking deal, I know, but in those days it was unheard of. The dreary days turned to woeful weeks. I had actually begun praying for school to start again until I discovered the basement. I could have sworn I'd roamed every inch of the basement, but one day, in the far corner behind the foreign language collection, I stumbled across a small wooden door I had never seen before. And that is where this all began, when I got raped by my other mother.
When I was about to say, when the other mother yanked
Sewed
my eyes out.
My eyeball.
And sewed buttons in them.
The door was windowless, and this is the story of one of the kids from It, by the way. The fat one who's worried about getting bullied all the time hides at the library and reads books. And the librarian is like, "Shouldn't you have friends?"
And he's like, "Yeah."
Yeah, it is a stereotype. I'm just saying it exists for a reason.
It's just good. They're easy victims.
The door was windowless and made from oak that looked far older than the wall in which it rested. It had a knob of black metal that quite literally looked ancient. I wouldn't have been surprised to learn it was crafted in the 17th century. Engraved on the knob was what appeared to be a single footprint. I had the sense that whatever lay behind this door was forbidden to me, and therefore probably the most interesting thing I would ever encounter all summer. I quickly glanced around to make sure nobody was watching me, and then I turned the heavy doorknob, slipping behind the door and shutting it. And there was nothing. It was only darkness. I took a couple of steps and then stopped, unnerving by the totality of the shadow which surrounded me, and I waved my hands in front of me in an attempt to find a wall or a shelf or anything to hold on to. And what I actually found was far more subtle, a small string dangling from above, but far more useful. I grabbed it firmly and pulled down. Back in the day, lots of light bulbs were operated with strings, and this was one of them. My surroundings were instantly illuminated. I was standing on a small, dusty platform that looked as though it hadn't seen life in quite some time, and to my left was a crickety-ass spiral staircase made of wood and appearing ready to collapse at any second. The bulb was the only source of light in the room, and it was feeble, so when I peered over the railing to see what lay below, the bottom of the staircase dissolved into darkness. I was beginning to feel scared. This place, wherever I was, it seemed to have no business in a town library. It was as though I were in a completely different building, but no 9-year-old likes to let a mystery go unsolved. Looking back, I wish I could tell my prepubescent self to turn and go. Go back, do anything else besides descend the staircase. You'll be spared a lot of sleepless nights, I'd say. But of course, I didn't know that then, and I may not have listened even if I had. So instead of turning back, I took a deep breath, gripped the railing, and glared resolutely forward as I began my descent. Something I would never fucking do in my entire life, even as an adult.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Fuck that.
If I'm in a creepy... for me, I think that you need to listen to your instincts. If your
My instincts say I'm gonna die here.
If your brain says you're... I mean, yes, I'm not saying...
I'm gonna fucking die here. I don't want to die.
I'm not saying anxiety doesn't exist, but most of the time, if your brain is like, hey man, this is really bad, it's not a terrible thing to listen.
I was a child who was acutely aware of danger.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, that looks dangerous, no thanks, and walk in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Like my brother, one of my favorite stories about my brother is he takes me all the way to the top of the hill of our cul-de-sac, and he's on his bike, and he goes, "You ever ride down this hill before?" I go, "No, because I'm not a fucking idiot. This is way too steep. I'm gonna kill myself. I'm not gonna do it.
I'm not gonna die here."
And he goes, "Oh yeah? Watch this." And he goes careening down the mountain, like pedaling faster and faster. And as he tries to stop, he flips over the front of his wheels and hits a trash can and puts like a gash in the side of his head. And I sat at the top of the hill laughing as I braked very slowly coming down the hill, second by second.
You were like, yeah, it would be super crazy if that happened, if something bad happened.
It was crazy that I had an aversion to doing that.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like you demonstrated why. So I'd look at these steps and I'd say, creak on one of the floorboards, and I'd say, no thanks, that's going to break the minute I step on it.
Yeah, that's a 0 out of 10 for me.
Even as a small kid, I would have said something like that.
I love cautious kids.
I also think there's a vampire down there.
Without a doubt.
Or some mummy or something.
Yes, some sort of demon. I'm just going to close this window real quick.
The wood on the railing was dry and covered in splinters. I immediately let go, holding my hands out for a balance as I carefully traversed the staircase. It was, or at least seemed, very long and with only the dim glow from the string bulb far above me. Reason number 2. You can't see where you're going. Why go there?
No.
My heart pounded mercilessly in the darkness. Like, forethought. I know there's a door down here. I know what it looks like in here now. I might as well go and get a flashlight.
Yes.
And come back a different day.
Come back a different day.
No need to take risk when you're unprepared. I was that kid, too.
You were like, this looks dangerous.
It's like, oh, I'm going camping. I'm going to take everything with me, including a knife and a flashlight.
I was like...
You know?
I was more of like a scatterbrained kid. Like, I was kind of like, I only paid attention to things that interested me. Sure. So I would be really thoughtless about stuff like this, but I was very like...
But you'd still be avert to it.
And I wasn't a really rebellious kid. I just wasn't.
I really wasn't either.
I wasn't
I just hid stuff a lot.
I was more saucy. Like, as a teenager, I was more rebellious, but even then, like, honestly, especially by teenage standards, I was not, like... I was not very spicy. And
risk-taking.
No, not really. Especially not by myself, because to me, there's no payoff there.
Right.
None.
What am I going to go looking for? What do I expect to find? It makes me sound less selfish when I say that if my expectations didn't align with it, there was almost no way I was going to do it.
No.
So what are my expectations in this situation like this? Do I find treasure down there? Is there treasure at the bottom of this library?
Is there a new and sexy library within a library?
Not down here.
No. No. There's just demons and, like, guts or something. Or, like, a bunch of demon children all hanging from their hands.
Demons and guts and stuff.
Demons hanging by guts from the ceiling.
If that happens, I'm gonna shit.
I'm gonna fucking blow up.
Even kids can sense when something isn't right, I think. They just don't always give a shit.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay. By the time my feet reached the cement floor at the bottom, the light from the bulb above was very nearly a memory. But there was a new light source, and God, I'll never forget it. Directly in front of me was a door, massive and a deep shade of red. Turn around. Gone. Done.
Nope.
No red doors in my life.
Nope. Creepy.
Red doors never led to anything positive.
Nope. Never.
The light was coming from behind the door, and it shone out in thin lines from all four sides, a sinister, dim, glowing rectangle.
Nope.
And for the second time, I took a deep breath and went through a door I shouldn't have.
No, this could not be.
In contrast to the dank room I just entered from, the room behind the door was blinding, and when my eyes adjusted, what I saw nearly took my breath away. It was a library. Oh my god, is this Page Master? I fucking love Page Master.
I love Page Master. Didn't I just say it's a sexier second library?
It is a sexier second library. This is the most perfect library imaginable. Oh my god. But the librarian is a Gorgon. And she wants to stone my ass.
Cool. Let's go. What a way to go.
I gaped my ass in wonder as I stepped almost reverently further into the room. You can't say those words. You can't say gaped and not expect me to go there. It seemed to be almost tailor-made for me. The shelves were packed with brightly colored titles. Both armchairs in the middle of the room were exquisitely comfortable. And the smell, my god, the smell was simply unbelievable. It was sort of a mixture of citrus and pine. I simply can't do it justice with words, but I'll suffice to say that I've never smelled anything better. Not in my 75 years. What was this room? Why had I never heard of it before? Why was nobody else here? Those were questions I should have been asking, but I was intoxicated. As I gazed around at all the books, I basked in the smell of paradise. I could only form one thought. I will never be bored again. In truth, boredom only hid from me for that's a long time. 3 years.
That's still pretty long. So wait,
3 years is long for a kid.
He came and went into this library within a library for 3 years?
It was on my 12th birthday, 63 years ago to this day, that everything changed. Before that day, I visited my basement sanctuary as often as I could, and usually several times a week. I never saw another soul down there, yet strangely remained free of suspicion. I never removed a book from that room, but instead would pick up a particular volume wherever I had stopped reading during my previous visit. I sat always in the same deep purple armchair, and always leaving its twin barren and just directly across from myself. That armchair was mine. The other was, well, I suppose I couldn't have articulated it then much better than now, but it wasn't mine, and that's for damn sure. On my 12th birthday, I arrived later than usual. My mom had invited a couple of classmates and some cousins over to the house to celebrate, a gesture which I found more tedious than touching. Really, I just wanted to spend my birthday, sitting and reading and smelling paradise. Eventually, our guests went home, and I made it to the library about 15 minutes before closing time. That didn't matter. The workers never checked down there before they locked up. I was free to stay as late as I wished. This particular night, I was devouring the final chapters of an epic adventure, knights, swords, dragons, and the like. I didn't smell it until I read the final words and closed the book. This once exquisite aroma that the room had turned sour. I sat for a moment unsettled. Objectively, I could recognize the smell was actually the same as it had been before, but that mixture of citrus and pine, I had just perceived it differently, and I didn't like it anymore. It was a nasal version of an optical illusion, you know, like the ones that look like a young woman glancing backwards, but all of a sudden you see that it's really an old woman facing toward you. You can't unsee that, and I couldn't unsmell this. The spell had been broken. The odor also seemed, for the first time, to be coming from somewhere specific. With a fair amount of trepidation, I stalked around the room, sniffing the air like a crazed canine, until I came to a shelf near the back. The shelf was perfectly normal, with the exception of one title, a large leather-bound cover of solid faded maroon, with one striking black footprint at the top of the spine. This was the source of the smell. I opened the front cover and saw one sentence scrawled neatly in blood-red ink atop the first page.
Rest your sorrows down, friend, and leave them where they lie.
I stared at this sentence, mesmerized. As I began to retreat to my chair, I turned a page blank. The smell became stronger. Another page blank, and the smell grew stronger still. I stopped for a moment, suppressed a gag, and continued walking, and then, as I neared the armchairs, I turned one final page, and there, in the same sinister print, was the last thing I expected to see. My own name. I dropped the book. I began to sprint toward the door, but as I shifted my gaze forward, my heart leapt to my throat, and I stopped in my tracks. The empty chair wasn't empty anymore.
No.
An aged man in a suit sat before me, one leg crossed over the other, contemplating me with piercing gray eyes and a light smirk. This was all too much. I fell to my knees and expelled the contents of my stomach onto the carpet, and I wiped my mouth staring at my vomit when I heard the man let out a chuckle. I stared at him disbelievingly.
Who are you?
I asked, panic in my voice. The man leapt to his feet, grabbed me gently by the shoulders, and helped me to my chair. He sat once again in his own. "I fear we got off to a bad start," he said, glancing at the pile of sick on the carpet. "The smell. It does take some getting used to."
Who are you?
"Tonight, you will know the hardship like you've never known before. I come as a friend, offering you refuge from it, and from all other storms which lie ahead." I wanted nothing more than to leave at that moment, but I remained seated. I asked him what he was talking about. "Your mother is dead, my boy, by her own hand in her kitchen. The scene is gruesome, I must admit," he said in sorrowful tones, but there was a playful glint in his eyes. "Surely you wish to avoid this path, and I can show you a safer one." My blood ran cold at the horrors this man spoke of, but I did not believe him.
What do you want with me?
I demanded, trying to sound braver than I felt. He laughed, an old raspy yelp that seemed to shake him to the bones. "Nothing but your friendship, dear boy." Then, sensing I found this answer inadequate, he expounded. "I want you to come on a journey with me. My work is noble, and you will make a fine apprentice. And maybe, when I'm done," he sighed tiredly, running his bony finger through his thin white hair, "maybe then my work can be yours." I stood up, shuffling towards the door, never breaking his gaze.
You're crazy. My mom isn't dead. She's not.
See for yourself if you must, he said, gesturing toward the door. I threw him a contemptuous glare and bolted for the exit, and as my hand closed around the knob, he said my name softly. In spite of myself, I turned around. Your road won't be easy, friend. If it ever becomes too much for you, and I mean ever, he said, pausing to sweep his hand over the room, you know where to find me. I slammed the door behind me and took the decrepit stairs 2 at a time. I exited the library, clambered onto my bike, and hightailed it home. The front door was wide open. I dismounted, leaving my bike in a heap on the ground, and approached the house cautiously. All 3 cats are in the room as I read.
Yes, they are. Stop. This is not for you.
The old man was lying. He must have been. Still, tears began to sting my eyes. Heart pounding, I stepped inside and called for my mother. I heard no answer, so I turned to the kitchen. To this day, I don't know why she did it. I've lived in a small town in Maine my entire life, although I've kept mostly clear of the public library. Once, in my late 20s, I summoned the courage to step inside, and life was good at that time, and my fear had begun to morph into idle curiosity. Where the door to my basement sanctuary once stood was only a blank wall. I asked the librarian what had become of that basement, though my heart knew the answer. There was no basement. There had never been a basement. In fact, she had her facts correct, as city zoning ordinances prohibited a basement in that area. I've been haunted by that sickly sweet smell, the poisonous blend of citrus and pine, ever since that long-ago birthday. When I saw my mother in the kitchen that day, collapsed in a pool of her own blood, I smelled it. When a man claiming to be my father knocked on my college apartment door, begged me for money, and beat me to within an inch of my life when I refused, I smelled it. When my wife miscarried our 2nd child, I smelled it. And again when she miscarried our 4th. When our oldest son got behind the wheel of the family Buick, completely shit-faced, and got his girlfriend killed, I smelled it. I began to smell it periodically as my wife became sick. She died late last year, and now I'm alone for the first time in more than half a century. Now I smell it every day, and it feels like an invitation. A few months ago I went back to the library, and that small oak door with the ancient handle was there, right where it used to be. My evening walk has brought me past this library every day since, and I haven't gone back inside. But maybe tonight I will. I'm frightened to die, yes, but lately I'm even more frightened to keep living. The old man was right. My road hasn't been easy, and I doubt it will get any easier.
Rest your sorrows down, friend, and leave them where they lie.
He promised relief. A refuge, he said. Was he right about that, too? There's only one way to find out. After all, I still know where to find him.
That's the devil.
I was gonna say it's him, but older.
Oh, really?
Just knowing everything he went through. Just saying, like, I know you can't see it right now, but you're gonna experience it, so, like... you could stay here and be free of that burden, or you could go and you can experience all of it, and you'll still end up here one day, you know?
Yeah.
The cyclical nature of life and death. Of birth. And death.
Yeah.
Yes, quite right.
Thank you, ma'am.
I do declare.
Tips hat, milady.
Milady. Yes, quite.
I was just immediately like, that's a fucking crossroads demon. That's a devil.
You always go there.
I do, because it's always them.
I don't know.
Nah, man, he killed that kid's mom. He fucking murdered her.
Just because he knew it doesn't mean he did it.
Yes, it does. He's doing it on purpose to drive him there. Because, you know what, maybe
he wanted him to stay.
Maybe it is him, but older, but he, like, knows that he wouldn't come unless he really fucked up his life.
Well, listen, if you know something traumatic is going to happen, do you tell yourself to experience it because it'll turn you into a stronger person? Or do you genuinely tell yourself to avoid it because you know you're not going to like it? Because you've been through it. because you know you're not going to like it. So to me, he's just trying to delay the inevitable.
Yeah.
Just trying to save himself that pain.
Yeah.
Maybe break the cycle, break the loop.
Yeah, I have to think about that one, because I'm like, I've had that thought a lot about, like, if the things that traumatized you didn't happen,
right?
Where would you be? What would your life be like?
Yeah. No, I've thought about that frequently. Where would I have ended up if I had just made, like, one different decision? Like, I have no fucking idea.
Me neither.
It's pretty fun to think about, though. It's pretty crazy. Because sometimes you get examples. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you actually get to see the examples, like, happen.
Yeah, that's true.
It's tough to think about.
It's tough.
It's really tough.
It's tough, right? So it's like, but then on the other hand, you just said, you stayed and the same thing happened. So
right.
It's like, who is to say, really? Apparently this old guy in the library is to say, but...
It's just, like, you don't know what direction your life's going to go in. You could still try to do the big different thing and still have the same attitude when you subconsciously get there, that it ends up having the same exact fucking outcome just because it was always destined for you to happen.
Pretty much.
Wouldn't that just be funny?
It would be.
Anyway, I thought that was kind of a downer for the night to end on, because I liked all the other stories pretty much way more than that one.
Because the other stories
that one made
like
me think about my life and my death too much, and I don't like thinking about either of those things.
The other stories were like saucy. They were like
right.
spicy. They were like
First
spooky.
one was actually genuinely saucy.
Yeah, that one was scary.
You'd like the escort one I read with Sofa King last week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She gets into some shenanigans. With a clown.
No, it was the one where about a sex worker, an escort. It was like it wasn't the sugar daddy. This was not in my job description. It was oh no, sorry. I mixed the two up. Sugar daddy and my sugar daddy asks me to do weird shit. Mm-hmm. That was the title of what we read today. The one I read yesterday was I'm a sex worker, and this was not in my job description.
Yeah.
And Sofa King wanted to read that, so we read that, and that one definitely went hard.
Yeah.
Hard in the you really don't want to ever experience that direction. Just multiple kidnapped parties meant to perform terrible things on each other for someone's pleasure.
Ugh.
Because they were hired to do so.
Gross.
Yeah. Just tough. Just tough.
It just reminds, for some reason, that just reminded me of the clip from the Harley Quinn show. I don't remember if it's from the newest season or the previous one, where like the rich like supervillains hire people to have sex for them.
Oh yeah.
And then watch them. And they're like yelling directions at them the entire time.
Yeah. Which one of these stories would you say you liked the most?
The sugar daddy was like classic,
sugar daddy
like
was
right
just
up
good.
my alley. It was
creepy,
nice.
But interesting, but believable, but also gullible at the same time.
Yeah, a little, and like creative and like just realistic enough, because like that would be something that I would be terrified of if someone gave me a list like that. I would
Limping
be like,
Woman was fine. Limping Woman felt like the type of thing we would have read when we
Yes.
started the show.
Yes.
Whereas the sugar
Classic.
daddy thing was more something we would have read like 100 episodes into the show.
Yeah.
Like read around the time that we read. Actually, both of these would have fit right around the time that we read the Woman in White
Yes.
sex ghost story.
Yes, the sex ghost.
The sex ghost.
Everyone loves a sex ghost.
Everyone loves a good fuck ghost.
Everyone loves a fuck ghost. Maybe that's why the doppelganger texted her that he was outside.
My two stories were okay. They were interesting. They were kind of bummers.
Yeah, I was about to say, you
two
picked bummers.
I picked two bummer summers. So hopefully everyone remembers this episode for the cool, interesting ones that Cannibal Siren picked, and not the two bummer summers that I picked.
They were still really good, though. I mean, even the library one, it was just
they were interesting, and they were good reads.
They were good reads. They
It's
were all
not-
well written.
I don't sit back and shit on something that actually does its craft well. I just sit back and I shit on it because it made me sad.
It made me sad, and that
It made me think
sucks.
about how I'm at my half-life right now.
Oh, I hate that. I don't want to
Being reminded that I'm halfway through my life.
I don't
And I haven't done anything with it.
mood.
Enjoy my podcast, folks. It stops me from ending myself.
Darn.
Give me validation.
Give me validation.
Appreciate me.
Or money.
Witness me.
If you don't want to appreciate...
Or money.
Yeah,
I
if you don't want to...
You like the Mr. Krabs, just like, or money.
No, I'm just saying. One of us has to be practical here. If you don't want to appreciate our good captain, our great captain, you can instead cash at me.
I'm steering this ship into a fucking iceberg, let me tell you.
And I'm taking tickets the whole way.
And I'm going down swinging.
Going down.
You come join me. Come jump on board.
I'll jump on board and I'll make sure I do
You ever
it with...
been to Niagara Falls?
Not like this.
We gonna fall.
It's called Niagara Falls because we're going to fucking fall.
How many people have died in the Niagara Falls?
How many people have died in Niagara Falls?
That's a fun statistic. Because I know there are like thousands that have fallen into the Grand
looking it up
Canyon.
right now.
And that makes me laugh because, like, you're a fucking idiot.
Niagara Falls death toll. Hold on. Niagara Falls deaths. Just 2023, no. Every year, an average of 20 to 30 people die going over the falls.
Oh, well, that's unfair. I thought I was being more original when I was saying that we should do that. Mm-hmm. All right, we have to pick something else. What else sounds fun that would be a cool way to kill yourself?
Oh, I just wanted to make it as, like, brutally, like, inconvenient as possible. Like, I'm a big fan of the classic jumping in front of a train. Because now everyone's late for work,
Your
and everyone's
day's
miserable.
ruined.
My guts are all over the place. Someone had to see that. I got to ruin someone's life on the way out.
Yeah, but, like, the conductor doesn't deserve that.
No, yeah, but I didn't deserve to die either, so bleh. Now we're all miserable.
You know what? I like that. There's a respect there.
I just want to make as many people miserable on my way out as I can, and I think that that's okay.
I'm like the opposite. I want to, like, Doctor Strangelove ride an atom bomb into a desert by myself.
It would be pretty metal.
It would be. What song would I listen to? Freebird. Done.
Highway to Hell.
Oh, okay. See, for me, it's like Freebird. Freebird just makes the most sense. Ever since watching Devil's Rejects, I just can't think of a better situation to be just fucking destroyed by. If I go out listening to Freebird, then I'll have lived a good life.
I wonder if Freebird it was like their version of Wonderwall back in the day. They would be like, play Freebird!
No, definitely not.
I'm mostly
Definitely
teasing.
not. I mean,
I'm 3% teasing.
You're mostly teasing.
Yeah, 93% teasing. There's a 7% serious.
Big shift.
Yeah.
If you were to go out swinging to any song, what would it be?
Oh my god, with the song I Die To?
Yeah.
I was born to, what's his face, Van Morrison.
Okay.
But
The Doors.
Yeah, but if I'm going...
Is that The Doors? Am I right?
No, Van Morrison, like Brown Eyed Girl,
okay.
Moondance. Yeah, I was born to that, allegedly, according to my mom.
I've never asked my parents that question. I don't necessarily want to know the answer.
Mom is very open, and I grew up with kind of a crunchy hippie mom. So.
My answer would be something like, "Rock the boat, don't rock the boat, baby. Rock the boat, don't tip the boat over."
I'm so torn because, like, do I want it to be a serious song or do I want it to be a meme? Because, like, honestly, the real answer is "Shooting Stars" by Bag Raiders.
Say goodbye.
It's just do 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 do.
Oh yeah, the Shooting Stars.
Yeah, Shooting Stars.
I love that
just
song.
that on repeat, and then I explode. And then that's playing, and then I fire myself from a cannon into the sun.
But I actually like that song.
No, it's amazing. I love that song. Unironically.
Shooting star,
'Cause you move so fast. So good.
Shooting star. No, that song bops. I get that. I understand that.
I just love the idea of also exploding into like confetti during the song.
Yeah, if I were about to explode or something, my choice would definitely be something like AWOL Nation's Sail.
Oh my God, that would be so funny. Can you imagine? And then you explode on beat. That would be great.
No, you know what the right answer is? The perfect answer is?
What?
David Fincher's Fight Club, Where Is My Mind? The Pixies.
Yeah, that is a good answer, actually. That's a really good answer.
It's a fantastic answer.
I mean, if I was about to blow up, I feel like Cherry Bomb would be, like, an obvious...
Well, it depends on your mood. Because,
Yeah.
like, for me, it's like, I wouldn't be excited to die. I'd be melancholic and melodramatic as fuck about it. So, like, I would be the Edward Norton turning to the Helena Bonham Carter saying, you've met me at a weird time in my life.
I feel like... See, I feel like if I was... It depends on the method. Like, if I'm jumping in front of the train, that's all business. Like, this is efficiency. Efficiency and maximum misery.
Yeah.
So that's just, like... I don't think I'm even listening to music at that point. Because that's just, like, how can I ruin this for as many people as possible, as quickly as possible?
Okay, so what you're saying is the White Stripes fell in love with a girl. Down and down and down, down and down and down, down and down and down, jumps in front of the train.
It's just the eye of the tiger, and then it's like rising up, and then I just get in front of the train in the first line.
Yeah, I like that. Or, I'm the best charade that's gonna ever keep you down.
It's the Foo Fighters Kung Fu Fighting, but then the song says, and I just like jump in front of a train and explode into meat.
Fair enough. Sugar Ray's cover of... Sugar Ray's cover of the Cyndi Lauper
Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
no fuck Forever, oh no, not Forever Young, she didn't write that. Fuck, what song is it?
Oh. I was about to say, I can't believe I fucking forgot All Star by Smash Mouth. What kind of
fuck
a
yeah,
fucking
dude.
poser am I?
Somebody!
And then you just
then you get
explode.
hit by the train. No, that's pretty good, honestly.
And
That's,
the whole rest of the song is just my
someone
beat.
finds your smashed device on the side of that train and says, what were they listening to? You know, the earbud is found, like, still attached to your head.
Yeah.
It's like, what were they listening to the minute they went out? All that they see is, like, Shrek soundtrack.
Yeah.
Specifically Shrek.
On repeat. Can
On
you
repeat.
imagine? It's just the Lego Movie theme song on repeat.
See, I would say you're a psychopath if that was your choice. I would be like, you have issues. It's not enough that we're talking about killing ourselves. If that's your choice, you're fucking mental.
You're
Like, you
literally
need,
insane.
you actually need help.
You're like, I'm actually calling to get you committed as we speak.
As we speak right now, because I can't handle the answer you just
You're
gave me.
calling the cops and you're like, I need an involuntary
I don't even want to
commitment
sing it. I don't even want to
right
reference it right now.
now. We manifested
That's
it.
how I feel. No, I'm gonna stick to Where's My Mind or Freebird. I just feel like one of those two. Because if I were to do anything fucking like emotional, like My Way by Frank Sinatra, I'd feel like a prick. You know?
Yeah, it would come off as pretentious.
You know, like I don't know, just anything too tough doesn't feel like me. Anything not like fun doesn't feel like me. Like I could see like Jane by like Jefferson Starship being pretty good.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was being really serious and
Oh my
melodramatic,
God.
I would just like put on some fucking Lana Del Rey.
I just got the other best answer. Now when I hear those songs, I want to kill myself.
Yeah.
That's usually.
I'm a huge Lana fan.
Oh no, I am too, and I mean that in the best way.
I want to kill. You
when
make me
I
want to
hear
kill myself.
when I hear her, I want to die. It's because I believe in her words.
Norman fucking Rockwell changed me in the worst possible sense of the world. I love that fucking song, and that's what I would just like pass away to that immediately.
I think I'd pass away to like Ride.
Yeah.
Or Radio or some shit.
How to Disappear would be perfect.
Oh
Actually.
my, that's too much.
Yeah, no, it's perfect.
That's a nail on the head.
Yeah, it's too dramatic. It's too dramatic.
I got a better one.
What?
I found actually like the best one.
Go on.
Dreams, Fleetwood Mac.
Perfect. Yeah, you're right. That is perfect. It's perfect.
It gets the right emotion across while also being timeless, while also being, regardless of what setting. You could be cruising a car off a cliff. You could be jumping in front of a train. I actually think it works for like many different situations.
It's very versatile. It's very, very
That's
versatile.
my anxiety song, by the way, which is why I thought of it.
I love that.
When I get on a plane, I'm usually tense about the takeoff. So I find a way to like put on my sleep mask and put on my headphones, my noise canceling, and just completely shut down. I usually don't wake up until after we've taken off because I'm not good about the the roller coaster feeling of lifting up into the sky and hurtling through the stratosphere. I'm usually not okay with that.
Yeah, I understand.
I like to wake up in it, because then I can't
You
deal
can
with it.
skip, you
Then
teleport.
I'm like that Mr. Krabs meme where everyone's just around him.
And he's like blurry,
Yeah.
and it's like just him in the middle, yeah.
Right.
I was going to say, I mean, dreams is really good. It might be a little on the nose. If I wanted to be like a fucking asshole and be like contrary, I would do Float On by Modest Mouse.
Yeah. No, that's
if I
another
wanted
one.
to be like really contrary, I'd be like,
Yeah.
you all might float on, but I won't, because I don't have to anymore.
Fuck you.
I would purposely also do it, but after while I drowned myself.
While
that
I
would just
drown
be
myself.
like, so I would just be like floating.
They
I
check
wanna make it as
they
a-
check her phone to see what was playing at the time of her death, and it's the Crazy Frog song.
You're right, that's the winner. Nothing else matters, actually. All the other things we just said, throw them the fuck out. Throw them out the window.
How about the 90s, early 2000s cover of
What's Going On?
What's Up
Yes,
by
What's
Four Non
Up?
Blondes, but it's the He-Man
Yes.
version.
I cry when I'm lying in bed.
I just played that in the car for Alley Cat for the first time the other day, and she was actually laughing the entire time it was on.
It's age
and I was like,
it's age spectacularly.
it was in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie that just came out recently. I was dying when it came
That cover,
on.
the He-Man cover.
The He-Man cover
specifically.
specifically
Oh my
was in
God.
the TMNT movie.
I have like the regular. I have the original, and I love the
It's so
original.
aggressive when I'm lying
But
in
something
bed,
about
just
that
to
specifically.
get out of
What's
feel it, feel it. A little peculiar. Yeah,
Finn did not like that.
It's so awake in the morning and I'll step outside and I'll take a deep breath and I get real high now from the top of my lungs. What's going on?
See, but that just made me not want to kill myself. So it might actually have the reverse effect. I might be like, this is actually so much fun that I've decided to live. So that I can listen to this 400 more times.
Andy cries. Oh my God, don't cry. I cry all the time in this institution. And he prays. Oh my God, do pray. I pray for security. Oh my God, that was the song in high school. Just one brief story before we finally fucking end this. That was the song in high school where my car is full of guys and it is 2:00 in the morning and we are driving home from Philadelphia doing 90 on the turnpike.
Yep.
And I have it at full blast and everyone in the car is screaming it.
Yeah, we used to.
And then it cuts to like the guy like stirring the pot in the kitchen, and we all just stop for a second
it's,
and
like,
start
really
going like
quiet.
that. Yeah,
It's, like-
it's playing from like the other room.
Yes. It reminds me of all the memes. Fuck, what's that song? I can't remember the name of the song, but it's an anime song. And there was like a bunch of clips on social media recently of like people like face down, like surrounded by liquor bottles.
Yeah.
And it was just like,
Yep. Very, very happy, fun song, but lyrics depressing.
yes, exactly.
Lyrics are about dying. Then why is it such a bop?
Why is it so fun then?
I just, I have a distinct memory of listening to that song careening down the highway, and it gets to the part where the vocals switch at the end before that sequence with the stirring, and it's just like, don't go back now. And then, like, everyone in the back is just like, just keep it inside. Learn how to hide your feelings. And I'm just crying. I'm just crying.
We had a friend who
I was
had
probably
like a
16, 17 when that happened.
same. No, I was because you're not that much older than me, right? How much older than me?
I'm 31.
Okay, yeah, I'm 28. So you're like 3. So
We
yeah,
would
it
have been
was-
in high school
It
together.
was also when I was in high school. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was like, oh my God. We would go to my friend's house because he had like a basement like room hangout thing that was like really nice and had all like a giant, projector thing going on. And so we would just put that like on the TV and just fucking blast it, and we would all be like, hey, yay, yay. It was the best.
I'm glad you also have wonderful memories of that song, because I'll
I-
never forget it. Now I think I have my answer
It's
that I was
interesting.
looking for.
Yep, nope, that's it. We hit it. We did well. And ironically, I made myself want to live, actually, just so that I can live for that song. So, You win some, you lose some.
It did what it needed to do. Everyone go listen to that song.
At least 3 times.
Or maybe
per
I could even
person.
just paste it here over
Yeah,
the parts
just-
that we cover
paste it.
because I don't know. Am I going to get sent to copyright hell for doing that?
I
might be
know.
willing to accept it. That's fine.
I'm okay with copyright hell for that, at least. It's for the meme.
Yeah, if I die for anything, I'll die on that hill.
I will die with you, brave soldier. I will fall on my sword in front of you.
Thank you for joining me, the captain, again on this episode. Cannibal Siren signing out. Any last words for your captive audience?
What's going on?